This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
On the back end of a glorious day in Melbourne where it got to 23 degrees, it is a sunny day, and on the back end of a glorious round of footy which has lasted 5 days, we have reached the final match, the 9th out of 9 games to complete the Anzac appeal round. It is Hawthorn and Sydney as Errol Goulden and James Sicily attend the coin toss. And Errol Goulden has pointed to the punt road end of the ground. There is one late change. Max Ramsden is playing for Hawthorn. He comes in for Mitch Lewis, who doesn't make his return from a knee issue. He last played on Easter Monday. He won't be returning today, so that won't help Hawthorn's cause. Much of the billing for this game has been around the fact that Lance Franklin is in attendance. Of course, one of the great figures in the history of both the Sydney Swans and the Hawthorn football clubs. Went to the President's function a short time ago, and we're promised he's going to be presented to members at half-time. My name's Corbin Middlemass at the MCG as the shadows are lengthening. Matt Clinch is here to call the footy with me. Hello, Clinchy.
Hello, Corby. Good afternoon to everyone. Yes, buddy, back at the MCG. It would be kind of nice to see him playing once more, but we do get to see Will Day for the first time for Hawthorn fans this year. Stress fracture in his foot, so hopefully he can lift the brown and gold. And the Sydney Swans, well, they failed the test when they were at the MCG earlier against the Tigers. They get another chance this afternoon.
Two men will be pretty happy about Will Day's return. First of all, the man who wore number 12 in 2 premierships for the Hawthorn Football Club in Brad Saul. Hello, Saulie.
Hello, fantastic afternoon. Great to be here. And it has been a glorious day. And hopefully we see some competitive football. Hawthorn have been good in patches, but against a good side, they're up against it today.
And the man who works for Max Sports now is player agent to the Stars. That is the stable in which Will Day belongs in. Yes. Richmond champ, 2-time All-Australian Brett Delidio. Hello, Lids.
G'day, Corby. Gents, good to be here. Great day. Don't put too much pressure on the lad. Just let him work into his into the game. A couple of nice early ones.
We'll touch base with Jess Webster in a moment. We're ready to go. Hawthorn and Sydney to bring the curtain down on round 7. You're with Matt Clinch on ABC Sport.
It's Lloyd Meek up against Brodie Grundy, and Grundy wins down the tap for the Swans. Warner kicks up towards half forward. Taylor Adams back with the fly, trying to get the hand pass away to Haywood. Links up with Rowbottom, kicks into the right forward pocket. It bounces end over end. Frost is in front of Amadi. He wants to see it go out of play, and it does just that. Sydney heading to the punt road end in the opening quarter. Will Day starting in the centre square alongside Isaac Heaney.
Where he belongs. It's a good matchup, though, isn't it? Those two boys. Futures of the AFL, absolutely.
Hawthorn in their traditional brown and gold, while Sydney are in their South Melbourne strip with the red V from the throw-in. Lloyd Meek follows up his ruck work, lays a tackle on Papley. He's brought down by Heaney and Grundy. And the umpire circles and will ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Sydney Swans. No score through the opening minute.
Umpire tosses up the yellow Sharon. Pushed down by Grundy, but straight into Hawthorn's hands. Mitchell, hand pass away towards Morrison, kicks out of the defensive arc. Scholl out there. Coming over the top is Moore, can't complete the mark. Spills back down to Morrison, who kicked it out of the defensive arc. Gives it to Newcomb. Hawthorn still with it. Hand pass to Moore. A jinking run as he sends a hand pass out wide to Connor McDonald. Feeds it forward by hand, and in the end, a pack's going to form here. It comes out the back door, and Sydney win it. Rowbottom, hand pass away to Cunningham. Gives it to Heaney. To Haywood, now to McInerney. Extra hand pass inside, a little loose for Grundy. Good enough to mop it up to Heaney. Still in the centre square. Hand pass to Adams to Blakey. Now he kicks it out wide to Papley. Hunting out after it, he goes to ground, and Sicily wins it for the Hawks at half back.
The Hawthorn captain one way, then the other. Bumped off it by Blakey. Papley gathers. Hand pass back to Blakey in the left forward pocket. He kicks to Amadi down low. Can he get it? No, he can't. And Frost knocks it straight over the boundary line. That'll be insufficient intent. And having made the spoil, he then gave up the counter shot on goal. And Nick Blakey's pretty keen to try and claim it in the left forward pocket. Gives the hand pass to Tom Papley. Standing start across the body. It's into the right goal post, across the face, and a minor score. So it's been all Sydney early. They're one behind a Hawthorn yet to score. 2 minutes gone, opening quarter.
Jess Webster is on the boundary. Hello, Jess.
Good afternoon, Corby. Great to be here as always. We've seen some massive crowds here at the MCG this week. We won't quite get to those heights today. A modest crowd in the house at the moment. It's been a while since Hawthorn has hosted Sydney at the MCG. You have to go back to 2018. Might be the Buddy effect, a treat for the fans today with him being honoured at halftime. Can't wait for that.
Certainly has been a selling point from the Hawks to try and get people here. A hand pass from Florent finds Melican, kicks down to high half forward, picked up by Heaney, drives it inside 50. Frost getting back, spoils, almost took the mark in the end. Falls down to Scrimshaw, hand pass to Impey, lost it, regathers. Gives it to Frost, and he's going to try and kick a barrel. Didn't quite hit it. Spins away to half-back. Will Day leaps in the air. Can't take the mark for Hawthorn, and then tackles McInerney. Ball spills out of play, and they're happy to have him back. Their best and fairest winner, Will Day, with some early touches. And a boundary throw in half-forward for Sydney. 3 minutes in, the Swans one behind.
I think you love Frosty. He just never stays inside his box. From the square, I'll just launch a torp.
Didn't think the barrel was part of his repertoire, but we all saw that as Grundy wins down the tap, has to do his own roving inside 50. Meek lays the tackle. Sicily gathers for Hawthorn. 1-2 with Connor Nash, who gets it to Newcomb. Back to Sicily off the outside of the boot. Kicks up towards half-back. Seamus Mitchell through traffic, knocks it out to Finn McGuinness. Along the boundary line, his hand pass is picked off by Blakey. Sydney inside 50 once more. Looks for Heaney. A lunging effort with the right mitt. He can't pull in the mark. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket under the Olympic stand. Sydney inside 50 on 5 occasions in the opening 3 minutes. Hawthorn haven't got it past halfway.
Swans 5-1, Hawthorn 1-5. And yet Sydney's record at the MCG hasn't been too crash hot, starting with that grand final humiliation back in 2022. Won just 1 of 7 games since here at the MCG, with a loss to Richmond in their last start. From the stoppage, Hawthorn win it. Sicily kicks down the wing, but Melican takes the intercept mark. And he's going to try and switch play for the Swans. Goes back to Cunningham. They've got a lot of footy early, Sydney. Kicks out across the half-back line to Gordon. He's off and running. Their young star pokes it out in front of McInerney. Jumps in front, marks on the logo. Trying to wrong foot the man on the mark. Now he's under a bit of pressure. Great work, Scrimshaw. Wins the footy back for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Ginnivan. Trying to get something going in transition. Handball away to Moore. Looks inside the forward 50. Chol one-on-one with McCartan. Can't take the mark. Ball hits the deck. Gunston traps it. Slips over. Now he's in strife. Tackled by Fox, holding the ball. And a free kick for Robbie Fox. An early win against the Hawthorn Premiership veteran Jack Gunston. The Swans one behind, the only score after 5 minutes.
Hawthorn's first inside 50 almost amounted to something as Blakey works the Swans out of defence. Up to Lloyd, who marks at left half-back. Sydney one behind to Hawthorn yet to score. Opening 5 minutes on ABC Sport. Blakey around the wing. Kicks up towards Heaney. Nudged underneath it by Jarman Impey. And the mark taken by James Sicily. Does that so well for the Hawks. Marks and then looks to come inboard to Scrimshaw. Just pokes the kick into the middle of the ground, and Jai Newcomb marks up against these centre circles. Looks inside 50, has McGuinness and Moore. Moore's charging inside the 50. He needs to gather. Tackle by McCartan. Hand pass over his shoulder to McGuinness. Back to Moore in the left forward pocket. A centering kick to Hardwick. Unselfishly seeing a free teammate in the corridor rather than having the shot himself. And Blake Hardwick starting forward once more. A chance to kick the first goal of the match.
Clever play by Hawthorn initially from Sicily taking the mark, and then the short kick inside the corridor, opening up the ground.
Scrimshaw, yeah. Good link-up play, wasn't it? They just got that out over the top. Great vision by Moore. His initial effort, then the follow-up.
Blake Hardwick from directly in front, 25 metres out for the opening goal for the Hawks. He nails it straight through the middle at the city end. And despite the Swans having all the dominance inside 50 early, it's Hawthorn who strike first. They're 1 straight 6 to Sydney 1 behind. 6 minutes gone on ABC Sport. Your experts this afternoon, Brett Delidio and Brad Sewell.
Well, it's so often the case, Sewell, isn't it, where you can completely dominate a game and not be able to cash in. They've had it inside their forward 50 so many times, the Swans, but in the Hawks, conversely, go the other way once, maybe twice, and capitalise, kick their first goal of the game. But I think the intensity's up for both sides. Last time we saw the Swans here, they lacked it a little bit. The Tigers touched them up that day, but they look on. They just haven't been able to capitalise going inside 450.
Have you had a chance to see Big Budway yet, Sully?
No, only on the socials. Great to see him out at Hawthorn.
Absolutely.
The kids.
Had the family out there yesterday at Waverley at the Hawks captain's run and attended the president's function, so he's here watching on 2 of his former clubs going out at us. Rowbottom hurried kick forward, and Impey takes the intercept mark, though, for the Hawks. It was 10 years ago this year since the 2014 grand final.
It's frightening, isn't it?
Very. Which would mean that's 11 years, surely, since your last game?
No, 10.
You both played in 14.
Played 14.
But didn't play in the...
Didn't play in GF.
Gotcha. There you go. 10 years in. As the decade comes up, the Hawks send it down to half forward. Roberts, hand pass away towards Heaney, gives it to Fox, and they work it out through traffic. Rowbottom takes the mark, defensive side of the wing. Hawthorn 1 straight, Sydney 1 behind after 7.5 minutes. Just repeating, full time on the Gold Coast. The Suns by 37 points, full time over West Coast.
James Rowbottom playing his 100th game in his 6th year for the Swans. Kicks out wide to Goulden with that long raking kick up towards half forward. Frost flies in the pack. Can't take the mark. Newcomb gathers. Rowbottom gathers him. And the umpire will ball it up at centre half forward for the Swans. Hawthorn 1 straight 6 to Sydney 1 behind. 8 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. Grundy and Meek. Grundy wins down the tap to Heaney. Kicks into the pocket looking for a Marty. Just out in front of him. It's off his back heel. Passes Frost. Great pickup. Onto it. The shot on goal and a classy finish in the end by Sam Wicks, who gathered and jammed it on his right boot. Everyone misread the footy apart from him. And he boots Sydney's first goal of the match to take the lead by a point. 1-1-7 to Hawthorn 1 straight 6. 8 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
That's a terrific piece of play. Just watching it playback now. Hawthorn lazy setting up in that stoppage outside their 50. Swans were lining up defensively, allowing the tap from Brodie Grundy. And a terrific pickup, full pace by Wicks.
Speed. I think Errol Goulden will be letting Isaac Heaney, mate, I am pretty good user by foot. If I'm on your outside, maybe you can just give me a little handball. It was on his right, though, so you give Heaney the benefit of the doubt, but that pickup at speed, well done, Sammy Wicks.
Kicked a couple of goals last week on his return to the team against the Suns and starts his day with a goal here back in the middle. Warple's going to get the centre break for Hawthorn, kicks it to the hot spot. McCartan hands to it, no mark. Trying to intercept for Sydney. Ginnivan sharks it. Hand pass to Connor McDonald, took too long and Lloyd runs him down. Affects the kick, bounces out of play, right forward pocket for Hawthorn.
Dangerous Hawthorn when they've gone forward.
Are they so far, the Hawks? Inside 50s 7-3, so already, as you said, Zuli a goal, and the rare times they've gone inside look threatening for the boundary throw-in. McLean hand pass away to McInerney, gives it to Rowbottom, he's under pressure, coughs it up. Morrison centre half forward, hand pass to Nash, handball away to McKenzie, gives it to Moore, gets it back, McKenzie kicks to the goal line. Gee, did Cunningham touch that? It doesn't matter. On the hop into the goal post, looked like a fresh air shot trying to spoil, so behind 1-1 to 1-1. Scores level after 10 minutes.
As Florin brings the Sydney Swans back into play, kicks up towards McDonald, got rid of Will Day illegally, and well before the ball was in the vicinity. So making his first appearance in 2024, the best and fairest comes into the middle of the ground, gets it to Warple and then to Impey. The kick is chopped off and spoiled away. Gathering at McLean for the Sydney Swans. Quick 1-2 with James Jordan. Gets the hand pass away to Cunningham and kicks out to Goulden, who marks it right half back for the Swans. Scores level at 1-1-7 apiece through 10 minutes in the opening term on ABC Sport. Comes back into the middle of the ground for Florin. Back into the centre square. Beautiful pass to Wicks. Spots Sam Wicks free in the middle of the ground. Out to Lloyd. It's just wide of him, the kick. Morrison chases after him. Warner comes up to make it a 2-on-1. Lloyd gathers. Feigns the hand pass. Trying to find a way round Morrison. Now links up with Warner. At left half forward. Off the outside of the boot. Kicks to McDonald, who marks just inside 50 out to the left. They did that well, Sydney. Just waited for the opportunity to present. Made sure it hit a target, and Logan McDonald shooting for their second goal of the match.
Well, yeah, Warner just came on off the interchange there, which gave him a 2v1 against young Harry Morrison. Not much he could have done there. I thought Warner might have gone straight away to the Papley lead, but it was into the pocket, but just that little bit of composure, took a bit more time. Found that an easier shot, I think, for McDonald.
The 22-year-old who's kicked goals in his last 10 matches for the Sydney Swans, looking to get going this afternoon from right on 50, fires it out to the right, curls it back beautifully left and puts through Sydney's second. Logan McDonald on the board. He's had a good record at the MCG as well. 2-1-13 as the Swans wrestle back the advantage. Hawthorn 1-1-7. 12 minutes gone. First term on ABC Sport with Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio.
Terrific finish by Warner to find Logan Gold on the inside 50 in that lead. That inside out, or that off kick lids, it's becoming more and more prominent in the game,
isn't it?
I mean, when we were going through, it was always, if you're on your left, favour kick on your left to advantage. But that's becoming more and more prominent, that either the check side or that off.
Yeah, just get good at your right, your dominant foot. I see a few blokes go onto their left and it's like, put that away, mate. Don't bother.
6-point lead on the back of that goal for the Sydney Swans. Couple of early lead changes. It's Sydney by a goal halfway through this opening term. Warple, hand pass for Hawthorn, away towards Newcombe. First clean touch out of the middle. Flares it wide. Finds McKenzie, just kicks to the hot spot. Moore, the target, sits up for a spoil from Cunningham. There's a whistle on the play. There's a free kick to Dylan Moore. Gee, looks like a standard one-on-one. Cunningham spoiled over the back. Moore sort of threw his arms back in the contest, and I think the umpire might have bought what he sold here.
Yeah, there was a hand over the shoulder.
Jeez.
I'm not sure Dylan Moore's the target you want, probably inside forward 50, but...
Moore takes the free, cashes it in, locks up the ball game once more. 14 minutes into the opening term, Hawthorn 2-1-13, Sydney 2-1-13. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Jess Webster on the boundary. This is ABC Sport Sunday Footy. And our experts, the two-time All-Australian Brett Delidio and the two-time Premiership Hawk Brad Sewell.
So the kick by McKenzie to actually hold on a little bit longer and go to that dangerous spot 15 metres directly in front of goal. At least with Moore, he may not be the tallest player out there, but you know you're going to get an honest contest.
100%.
Very rarely will he lose a one-on-one. He'll break even at worst. And yeah, just drew that free kick, just did enough. It was McKenzie's dangerous kick to that hot spot as opposed to going wide to the boundary line.
3 votes last week too, I reckon. ABC Footballer of the Year.
Yeah, that's right. For the win against North Melbourne.
Kick 4.
We got to chat to him after the game as well. It was good to hear his insights as Grundy wins down the tap and does the roving. The new Sydney recruit kicks up towards half forward. It's out in front of Scrimshaw and McDonald. McDonald lays a big tackle. Ball spills clear. Taylor Adams against the boundary. Drags it in. Has to try and knock it out. But it's Carl Amon for the Hawks. Had it momentarily. Lost it. Hand pass back to Warple. And eventually Logan McDonald sees it out of play for a throw-in. 60 metres out from Sydney's goal. The punt road end. Scores locked at 2-1-13 apiece.
He's yet to miss this year, Dylan Moore, so it gives him a dozen scoring shots. Perfect 12 and 0. Not a bad start.
Good bang for buck.
You've certainly mozzed him now, haven't you?
Yes.
You meant to say it after he kicks, although he did just kick one. As Meek wins down the tap. A chance for Warple. Had it for a moment, lost it. Grundy with a hand pass to Jordan for Sydney. To Heaney. Through traffic. Back to Jordan. Water hard against the boundary. Vacant goalmouth. It's across the face. Racing after him, McLean. Tries to tap it to his own advantage. Around Scrimshaw, but eventually Sarong sees it out of play in the left forward pocket for Sydney. Under the Olympic stand. Scores locked at 13 apiece through 15 minutes opening quarter. ABC Sport.
Fairly newsworthy VFL game played between these two teams this afternoon as well. Full of incidents. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. From the boundary throw-in, Meek wins it down. Warple hand pass to McKenzie. Kicks to half-back. Lloyd jumps in front, takes the intercept mark. And he's got it at left half forward for the Swans. Scores level here after 15 and a half minutes. And Jake Lloyd is going to have a look. Has he got it in him, Lids?
I think he does, Corb. He's a beautiful kick of the footy. It has been for a number of years. Hanging out just inside right-hand post. Should just drag back after Logan McDonald's last city.
I have to kick it from just outside 50 as Lloyd works out to his right. And he sprays that wildly.
He didn't listen.
The whole set.
Didn't listen.
No. Out on the full. Score remains the same halfway through this opening term. 2-1-13 apiece. Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Unfortunately, Sam Butler suffered a badly broken leg low down near the ankle in the VFL. He was hospitalised. We had a 67-minute quarter in the third term as they had to wait for the ambulance to arrive. So no good there for Sam Butler and for the Hawks. Chad Wingard kicked 2 goals and Luke Parker had a game-high 34.
Nick Blakey's kick off half forward is smothered. Connor McDonald with a hand pass inboard. Missed McKenzie. Warner onto it for Sydney. Swung in the tackle. It worked. Hand pass to Roberts inside 50. Beautiful lead from Logan McDonald. He takes the mark just slightly left of centre. 25 to 30 metres out. And Sydney do that so well with the avenue coming out from the goal square.
Well, they've got some beautiful users off half-back now. Matty Roberts, Lloyd, who we spoke about, Ollie Florence down there, the Lizard, Blakey as well. The ability to find targets inside forward 50 from your half-backs and wingers, essentially, and it just breaks the game open.
He's got a couple of goals in his last few games. Logan McDonald, here's for 2 in the opening quarter. He comes in from 35 metres out, drags it left. And the opportunity goes begging and puts Sydney in front by a point. 2-2-14 to Hawthorn 2-1-13. 17 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
We've got a few back the Swans, so Mills, Parker, Rampy, all unavailable to them. Obviously Parker with 34, a game high in the VFL as mentioned earlier today, so coming back from that broken arm, you'd think he's not that far away. Long kick out towards half-back and slipping through the hands of Florent. Pack forms behind him. Ball up between wing and half forward for the Swans. Umpire throws it in the air. Meek palms it down to Warple, trying to fight through the tackle. Lost it. McInerney, hand pass to Wicks. Kicks inside 50 and McLean hugs it to his chest. He's got it 35 out his right of centre.
The connection from the Sydney mids to forwards has been a lot to watch so far, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's their ability to get their hands free in stoppage. Their sharp little hands that gets their kicker free has been first class.
We've had more of the play in their front half, the Swans, and yet lead the game by just a single point. Big Hayden McLean skips in, not a fluent approach, and not a good result. He misses. He's had a little hitch in the giddy-up on his approach there in the set shot. And just a behind, so 2-3 to 2-1. Couple of points, Sydney's lead, 18 minutes into the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
If you want to get in touch with us, 0437 774 774. Seamus Mitchell brings Hawthorn back into play. A long kick up to the wing. Lloyd Meek was there, but Nick Blakey flies in front to take the mark for the Sydney Swans. Right half forward for another inside 50, potentially 11 to 5. His kick is partially smothered. Onto it, Warple for the Hawks. Hand pass to Finn McGuinness. He's tackled by Florent. Can't break away the nuggety tagger, and the umpire will ball it up in the middle of the MCG. Sydney by 2 points.
Rachel in Ballarat off the SMS. How is Hardwick playing now when he was just coaching at the Gold Coast? Obviously his namesake Blake Hardwick in the forward line kicked the opening goal of the game. From the stoppage here, the Swans on it in a flash as Patley hits up, got a hand pass out, Warple off his knees, whacks it to Day. The Hawks, they work it through traffic. Meek, hand pass to Moore, he hands it to McGuinness, his kick smothered. Nice at a 1%er from Florent, wins it back for the Swans. Jordan through traffic, handball to McInerney, handball to Rowbottom under pressure, he coughs it up. Hawthorn went it high half forward. McKenzie, handball to Weddle, gives it to Impey, works his way through traffic, kicks inside 50, running start for Ginnivan, forced to spoil, still alive. Dylan Moore feeds a hand pass back. Away towards Amon, who's locked up in the tackle. We'll have the ball up 55 metres out from the Hawks' goal at the City end, just in from the boundary line.
Great pressure by both sides. Tackle and intensity around those loose balls been terrific.
The voice of Brad Saw with you on ABC Sport. James Sicily up to 8 disposals. Nick Larkey as well. As Newcombe tries to get a clearance of the Hawks, but it's Warner. Gets the hand pass to Cunningham, to Taylor Adams, through the defensive 50 for Sydney. Hand pass to Lloyd, then one way, then the other. Nothing really on offer, so gives the hand pass back to Milliken. Great smother, lunging forward. It's locked in by Dylan Moore, who wrestles for the foot. He's stuck underneath, turns to the umpire. No whistle, despite the Hawthorn fans below us. It's one of the great visuals here at the MCG. We can see the Sydney fans in the red and white, the Hawthorn fans in the brown and gold.
Proper contrast that is from the ball up. Grundy jams it on the boot, kicks it out of the defensive 50, slips through Meek's hands. Amadi couldn't grab it clean. Day does. He's tackled, throws his head back, no free kick. Now, Peter off the SMS, question should be asked why the ambulance took so long, seeing as Box Hill Hospital is 2 minutes away. I think the teams actually went off the ground, such was the long delay from the restart. Oh, Will Day, how good is it to have him back? Sells a dummy, shoots goalward, but misses. And the best and fairest winner from last year, Will Day, are behind. But G puts his talents on show in the opening quarter. We're 21 minutes in. Sydney by a point, 2-3 to 2-2. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Is that you about to get out of your chair, Lids?
Oh, yeah, it's close.
Nick Blakey brings Sydney back into play. Bit off more than he could chew. Missed it. Missed Florent. Seamus Mitchell. Hand pass to Newcombe. He misses the target. Warple inside 50. Still a chance for the Hawks. McGuinness has hand pass to Ginnivan. It's smothered by Rowbottom. Spills out Mackenzie's way. Leaves it for Warple. Hand pass chopped off by Taylor Adams. Tried to fend off the Newcombe tackle. Sydney take the advantage. Through James Jordan at half back. Needs support. Shovels the hand pass wide away to Errol Goulden. He looks up the wing. McLean's the target. It clears him and Sicily. Hawthorn race onto it. Weddle with the hand pass. Today, stripped of it in the tackle. It spills the way of Chad Warner. Gathers. Hand pass to Sydney to McInerney at right half forward. Links up with Goulden. He has no real option, so doubles back. A 1-2 with McInerney. Never gave the back. And now Goulden flashes back onto it. Gathers the loose footy from 55. Can he go from home? He bounces it through. An incredible individual goal. The return hand pass missed him, and Errol thought, I'll just go and win my own footy back, and was able to finish with absolute class. Sydney by 7 points, 3-3-21 to Hawthorn 2-2-14. 22 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Geez, he works hard, Sully, doesn't he? His ability to run the wings and be involved not once, twice, 3 or 4 times But then to finish as well, you said all class, Clinchy. I'm not sure it spun, but it was a terrific kick from 50 to still be able to knock it through.
It did spin a few different ways.
It's a wounded duck of the best kind, but such is his class, he still manages to get it through.
Chess Webster on the boundary.
I was watching Jake Lloyd as Errol Gulden was having that shot on goal. He had his arms spread out wide as if to say, you should kick it to me. But the second it bounced through, he just quickly put his arms back down. I guess when you're Errol Gulden in that kind of form and kicking those goals, you can do whatever you want.
Thanks, Chess. Sunday footy on ABC Sports. Sydney by 7. As we close in on quarter time, Rowbottom first touch in the middle, gives it to Gulden. His neat little left footer finds Heaney. Hand pass releases Florent. Off and running. Florent looks for home and drives through another. The stylings of Ollie Florent. Pure as you like on the run. And back-to-back goals from general play for the Swans have them out by 13. 24 gone opening term. The Swans 4-3-27. Hawthorn 2-2-14. Brad Sewell, Brett Delidio, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I'll say midfield, throw Ollie Florent in there as well. But those smaller mid-range size Sydney players that can run and carry and are so dangerous when either hitting a forward or around the arcs. They're a delight to watch Sydney at the moment when they're run and carry game like this is on.
They got so many with speed, haven't they, that can really break open the game. It seems like Horse has really got them backing in themselves, their ability to take it on and pin the ears back, which is what Ollie Florent did there and kicked that goal.
Up to 4 individual goal kickers for the Sydney Swans. Is back in the middle of the ground. Heaney tries to slap it forward, but aim on for the Hawks. Links up with Will Day. Kicks to the lead of Hardwick, who takes the mark high on his right-hand shoulder. And he marks right on 50. Having already kicked a goal so far this afternoon, he thinks he's within range too.
It is one of the best parts about footy, isn't it? Player in general play grabs a footy, says, I'm just burning off, and then finishing on the run.
Love it. Absolutely love it. This will take a good kick from here. Short end, but he's a beautiful kick, Blake Hardwick.
No Mitch Lewis, unfortunately, this afternoon. It was a laid out with knee soreness, so the Hawks are going to have to find their goals through other measures. Now, Marbiel Scholl off the ball has put down a Sydney player.
Bang.
And Blake Hardwick's nailed the goal.
How disappointing.
It's going to be reversed, and the footy is going to come back to Robbie Fox. So Marbiel Scholl's given away the free kick here, and Blake Hardwick has every right to go and say to his teammate, what are you doing, mate?
I think he heard the whistle there, Blake Hardwick, and thought, if I can just kick this quickly, hopefully it'll count and we'll be able to keep rolling. But as Clinchy said, that's going the other way. So Fox gets it on half-back, kicks wide to Heaney. 4 of the last 5 goals in the game for Sydney after Blake Hardwick kicked the first for Hawthorn. 13 points, the Swans lead. Sunday footy on ABC Sport as Isaac Heaney down to half-forward. G. McLean leaps up, marks overhead. In front of the pack, left half forward, kicks deep, wants a Marty. Marty tracks it beautifully. Bit of body contact with Frost. Gets away from him and marks in the left forward pocket, about 15 out.
The coach's box for Hawthorn must be infuriated right now. They've gone from one end of the ground, having kicked the goal by Blake Hardwick, to a quick transition, outmarked on 2 occasions for a Sydney shot on goal now.
Marty to bend it through, does so with ease. They got 5 goals and 5 different goal kickers. They're all involved early, the Swans. 5-3 to 2-2. 26 minutes into the opening term, and the Swans lead balloons to 19 points. Brad Sewell, Brett Delidio, Sunday footy, ABC Sport.
Yeah, you're right, Sewell. People who are here at the game will be saying, oh, Frosty, you've got to do better there. Bring that ball to ground. Well, what about the loose checking? Well, firstly, the free kick against down in the goal square. The loose checking down all the way down the ground, but then a contested mark at half forward. They're worth their weight in gold, those contested marks. And it gives you that chance to reset, really protect the ground and to get it in. That was a beautiful kick by McLean. Not just a great mark, but a great kick. Identified the space that Amati wanted to try and move into. And as soon as he got that step, he could just go full chest into it. A great little finish.
14-9, the inside 50s Sydney's way. They've taken 5 marks, the Sydney Swans, when they have gone inside 50 as well. Back in the middle of the ground, Amati into the ruck up against Meek. It's gathered though by Will Day. Gets the clearance of Hawthorn up towards half forward. Cleared more. Blakey dropped the mark. Now McCartan under pressure. More scraps for it. Knocks it back inside 50. Marbiel Chol puts the block on Florent. It spills down the way of Connor Nash. And he's bumped as he gets his kick away. It rolls out of play in the right forward pocket under the Ponsford stand at the City end. Hawthorn into attack, but Sydney leading by 19 points.
Touched on their Q1 record last week, Clinchy. The Hawks hadn't won one until that game against North Melbourne, and not just that, they barely kicked multiple goals in any of their opening terms. They're playing from behind again early here. 5 goals to 2. Sydney by 19 points from the boundary throw-in. First clean touch for Chol. Hand pass along the half-forward line to Amon. Hand pass goes back to Chol under pressure, trying to get it away to Warple. He's going to be pinged for holding the ball. That wasn't a hand pass, said the umpire, and the tackle from Florent will be rewarded. You ever played in teams like that, Sawley? Start slow, and I guess what do you do to try and address it?
Let me come back to you.
One kick down the line as Amon leaps up, can't mark, spills down towards Frost. Hand pass close to the boundary line, picked up by Jordan, but it stays alive. Comes away as Sicily, trying to work his way through traffic, draws 2 defenders. Hand pass to Newcomb, handball away towards Nash, spills it close to the boundary line, it's still alive. And Nash is going to hand it back to Warple.
Drives it inside 50, never got to Marby or Chola. Jack Gunson, a great intercept mark, taken by Tom McCartan, goes short to Hayward. Mark still inside the defensive 50, 28 minutes gone in the opening term. Sydney by 19 points on ABC Sport. Kicks out to Errol Goulden and marks at right half back. He looks for options around the southern side of the MCG. Decides Roberts up against the boundary is the best of which, and comes inboard. And now Blakey at half back. Thought about the hand pass. Back to Roberts. Now pushes back behind his mark. Nick Blakey. Possession number 10 coming up as he kicks around the Shane Warne stand side in the direction of Logan McDonald. It comes off the hands of Seamus Mitchell with Jack Scrimshaw and goes out of play. Centre wing for a throw-in.
Jess Webster on the boundary. Jess.
Just keeping my eye on Taylor Adams on the Swans bench at the moment. He was in deep conversation with the physios, then took his right boot off and headed down the race with the doctor. So not quite sure where the injury is, but I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thanks, Jess. Boundary throw-in. Nash had it, lost it. Now McInerney for the Swans. Hand pass to Rowbottom, trying to fight through the tackle of Impey. He's caught. Surely that's holding the ball. The ump says no. And now we're going to have a ball up. Southern wing. Sydney by 19 points. Half-hour mark opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Jess Webster on the boundary. Now pair in the back row in the experts chair, Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio as Impey from the stoppage kicks Hawthorn to half forward, but Blakey is there to chop it off and whack it back down the wing for the Swans towards a pack, and in the end it carries them, and Scrimshaw takes the intercept mark. Sydney by 19 points. Half-hour mark, quarter number 1, ABC Sport.
Oh, into the middle of the ground, a risky kick to Ginneman, can't take the mark, trying to make it work. Carl Amon dragged down, couldn't get boot to ball. Great pressure from Hayward, it spills to Heaney. Sydney at half-back, hand pass to Florent, one way then the other. Pulls his kick to Rowbottom in the middle of the MCG. Is there time for one more Sydney goal? As Rowbottom looks for an option out wide. He sends it out to the southern side where Errol Goulden is all on his own. He takes the mark. 2 kicks out from goal. Deep into the pocket looking for McDonald. He rises but can't hang on to the mark. First back onto it. Hand pass to McInerney. He's short to Papley. And Tom Papley takes the mark in the right forward pocket. There was he and Heaney who was both there. There's a tangle of bodies as well off the ball with Jack Scrimshaw. The shot on goal will go Tom Papley's way after the quarter-time siren.
They're so good at sharing the footy going inside 50. You spoke about it before, Sawley. It seems like it's ingrained in them, because I remember way back in 05, 6, 7, that's exactly what they used to do to us as well.
Tom Papley with 10 goals for the season, looking for his first this afternoon. Out from the right, 40 metres out, one of the best celebrators in the game. Has his arm out before it sails through. All eyes on me as Tom Papley kicks Sydney's 6th goal of the opening quarter. 6-3-39 to Hawthorn 2-2-14. A 25-point lead at the first break. All individual goal kickers for the Sydney Swans. They've come through McDonald, Papley, Florent, Wicks, Goulden and Amati. While for the Hawks, their goals have come through Dylan Moore and Blake Hardwick.
Another first quarter loss by Hawthorn, and not only that, they're a long way down in the game. So the Swans by 25 points at quarter time. Earlier today, Gold Coast by 37 over West Coast. Noah Anderson was best of field. Got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Had 33 disposals and kicked a couple. Off the SMS, which is 0437 774 774. Corbin, Matt, Brad, Brett and Jess. Top call as usual. Go the Swans. Only so the Giants can thrash them in the Battle of the Bridge next Saturday. That's from Grant in Waterloo in Sydney. Just on that too, it's a bump around next weekend. We got all the rivalry games. So Carlton Collingwood on the Friday night. We got a showdown, a Q Clash, a Sydney Derby, and the jacket match the West Coast Eagles and the Bombers on Saturday night. So there's a fair bit packed into round 8. Keep them coming on the SMS 0437 774 774. As the curtain comes down on round 7, it is quarter time between Hawthorn and the Swans. Sydney by 25 points. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Here's my top footy tip for the season. You can get your games live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. I know, right? AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever footy you're after, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
Game, set, bingo.
This season on the home of 100% pure footy, the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Back to Moore in the left forward pocket, a centering kick to Hardwick. Unselfishly seeing a free teammate in the corridor rather than having the shot himself. Blake Hardwick starting forward once more, a chance to kick the first goal of the match. Blake Hardwick from directly in front, 25 metres out for the opening goal for the Hawks. He nails it straight through the middle at the city end. Now links up with Warner at left half forward, off the outside of the boot, kicks to McDonald. Their marks just inside 50 out to the left. They did that well, Sydney. From right on 50, fires it out to the right, curls it back beautifully left, and puts through Sydney's second. Logan McDonald on the board. A 1-2 with McInerney, never gave the back. Goulden flashes back onto it, gathers the loose footy from 55. Can he go from home? He bounces it through. An incredible individual goal.
Finds Heaney, hand pass releases Florent, off and running. Florent looks for home and drives through another. The stylings of Ollie Florent. Pure as you like on the run. In front of the pack, left half forward, kicks deep, wants a Marty. Marty tracks it beautifully. Marty to bend it through, does so with ease. They got 5 goals and 5 different goal kickers.
First back onto it, half pass to McInerney, short to Papley. Tom Papley takes the mark in the right forward pocket. 40 metres out, one of the best celebrators in the game. Has his arm out before it sails through.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Swans by 25. Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Jess Webster on the boundary and our ABC Sport analysts, Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio. Just quickly off the SMS, Bob from Baldale says, talk about the Swans' nightmare grand finals in the last decade. The Hawks in 2014, of course the Dogs in 2016 and the Cats in 2022. Even so, not a bad effort for an appearance every 3 years. Absolutely. Pretty good bang for your buck being a Sydney Swans fan. And news out from the match review officer. The Saturday night games, just fines from the match between Geelong and Carlton. Riley West, though, has been offered 1 match for rough conduct on Brandon Walker. So ran past the ball, sort of threw the shoulder out, collected Walker high. He went off the ground to do the Scat 6 test. Walker did return, but it's come back as careless, medium and high. So Riley West offered a 1-match ban by the match review officer. Swans by 25 at quarter time. Brad Sewell, Brett Delidio.
Lids, it was a pretty even game for the first half of that quarter via the scoreboard. Yep. Although Sydney played the game in their half, they just couldn't quite capitalise in front of goal. As good as their connection was between their mids and their forwards, they squandered a number of opportunities. Hawthorn, on the other hand, looked dangerous every time they went forward. Halfway through that quarter, the floodgates opened, things clicked for Sydney. They hit the scoreboard, and it was their running smalls, their brigade from half-back and mids that really carved Hawthorn up through the middle part of the ground.
Well, they're just controlling the footy. They've had 115 disposals to 87. They're on track for 460. Like, that's a huge game possession-wise. And they're just not giving the Hawks a chance to get it back off them. They're kicking to their target, marking. So therefore they're winning the tackles as well, 22-16, the Swans. So it's been a domination in that first, or the second half of that first quarter, essentially, to what Sully was saying. But it's their running players that are just cutting them up. They've got too much leg speed, it seems.
They kicked 3 goals in 4 minutes, the Sydney Swans, and Sam Mitchell was seeing red at quarter time, so he didn't miss Jack Scrimshaw with his frustration about spoiling at the last line.
Yes, I'm not sure specifically what the direction was to Scrimshaw, but yeah, those goals in red time quickly for Hawthorn have really begun to hurt them throughout this early start of this year.
sidestepped one of my questions earlier, Sully. I've got another one for you in just a moment, which I'm demanding a clear answer off the SMS. I'll get down to Jess in just a moment as well. Second term underway. Nash hand pass to Newcomb. Long kick inside the forward 50 and an intercept mark by McCartan. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Taylor Adams has been given the all-clear to return to the field. He had his right boot off, but it was also pointing at his knee as well. But they've checked out both areas, and he gave us a thumbs up on the bench while we were spying on him, boys. So he's okay.
Thanks, Jess. As McCartan goes long out to the wing. Weddle leaps for it. No mark. Spills down towards Warple. Hand pass to McKenzie. Kicks down to half forward. Connects in the end with McDonald. Puts it inside the forward 50, but an intercept mark for Jordan. Takes the mark at half-back for Sydney. Swans by 25 points early in the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Cunningham looks for options out of defence, sends it long up the wing, setting himself. Scrimshaw takes the mark. Sure, that'll bring a smile to Sam Mitchell's mouth as he takes it centre wing on the southern side. Jack Scrimshaw looks to go short to Warple. He marks between wing and half forward for the Hawks. Looks inboard, spots Jai Newcomb free. He's at the edge of the centre square. Sydney have their numbers back, including Brodie Grundy filling the hole in front of Marbior Chol. So Newcomb veers out to the right, tries to pierce a kick. It's not a great ball into the 50. It may be a chaotic ball. Goulden gathers though. Hand pass to Grundy, to Warner. Out of defence the Swans go. Hand pass to Rowbottom. He chips it out to McInerney. He marks it right half back under the Olympic stand. With Sydney leading by 25 points.
Rule in Adelaide, Sully. Which buddy was better? The Hawks buddy or the Swans buddy? If you can only have one.
Hawks.
Horse buddy. I don't mind it. Long kick down to the wing from McCartan. Spills off hands down towards Cunningham, who looks down to half forward. Hand on it from McLean, but spills through to Sarong. Has it for Hawthorn across half back. Hand pass to McKenzie. Kicks out to McDonald. Pokes the pass down the wing. Moore should have marked that. Doesn't. Slips through his hands. Tackled by McCartan. Or a hand pass back to McDonald. He runs past it. Sydney back on the footy. Florence shoots a hand pass out wide to Lloyd. This is a 4-3-60. In the end, turns around and kicks down to half forward. Papley the target on the hop, takes it out of play.
Can we go further on that call?
We can.
I'm biased. Ask Lids.
So 182 games for Hawthorn, 580 goals.
Yep.
For Sydney, 172 games, 486 goals.
Yeah.
He actually has a better winning record with the Swans than he did with the Hawks. So Hawthorn, 109 wins, 72 losses. At Sydney, he was 113 wins, only 59 losses.
Well, they were rubbish early, though, the Hawks. Much like the Tigers were.
Yep.
Found it very hard to win.
His first 50 games were almost given to him.
It was your draft mate, of course, same year.
Yep.
Which one was better?
Oh, where did he win his flags? At the Hawks?
Yeah, he didn't win one.
Didn't win one at Sydney. Played in grand final. Isaac Heaney's got a free kick here for a hold from Connor Nash. So he's outside 50 to the left. He veers out to the right, one of the superstar players of the competition, for just goals like that. Making the most of his opportunities. And Isaac Heaney continues the good times for the Sydney Swans. That's 5 goals on the trot now. He's having an incredible season, averaging 28 disposals and a bit over a goal and a half a game. Sydney's lead is out to 31 points, 7-3-45 to Hawthorn 2-2-14. 3 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
He's in the purple patch, isn't he? He's really cashing in on the side, playing really well, but he's been the driver almost in terms of his ability to be inside. We've seen him almost purely play a little bit more outside wing and then half forward. But now loving his move inside.
Time in midfield has been the difference, hasn't it? He's predominantly been forward in years gone by, but now he's genuinely
because he didn't find it when he was in there, Sully, I don't reckon. Now that he is inside, he's winning his own ball and being damaging on the scoreboard as well.
Averaging 28 disposals a game through the first 6, Isaac Heaney, the runaway leader in the AFL coaches' votes. He does a defensive act here, smothers the would-be kick from Newcomb, spills out wide to McKenzie, has it for Hawthorn, kicks down the wing. McDonald half-volley pick-up, and he's tackled immediately. So he's on 47 coaches' votes, so possible 10 per game. The next best is Zach Merritt on 27.
Wow.
20 in front, 2 best on-ground efforts already, and we're only 6 rounds into the new season. That was obviously leading into round 7. From the stoppage, they've got it again. Heaney towards Hayward, kicks down to half forward. Adams the target, swatted down by Warple, wins it back for Hawthorn. Hands it to Frost, ugly kick in the middle of the ground. As Moore is crunched with the footy, coughs it up. Goulden, hand pass releases. McInerney looking inside 50 again, just dabs it short. And McDonald marks a step inside the 50.
They're so well drilled, the Swans, and those turnovers around the middle forward area of the ground. They're composed, they find the spare, they lower their eyes. Dangerous.
Kicked 7 goals from 7 different goal kickers. The Swans to start the game, and Logan McDonald has one of those. They've got the last 5 of the game. As Logan McDonald makes it a half dozen. Just thumps it through from outside 50. And there are huge danger signs for Sam Mitchell and the Hawks. And Sydney in rhythm. 6 minutes into the second term, the Swans by 37 points. 8-3-51, Hawthorn stuck on 2-2-14. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Brad Saul and Brett Delidio on ABC Sport.
Well, you can feel a bit for Dylan Moore. He's trying his backside off, and he's the only option. As soon as the ball was a little bit above his head, he got smashed by Melican. And there was an outnumber there of nearly 3-1, maybe 4-1. But what chance has he got? But as you said, Sully, that ability to not just blaze away and bomb it to the top of the square, which you see probably more so the bottom half of the ladder sides do. Just pick one off, give us a set play and then allow, even if we miss that set shot on goal, we're set up and our backs get a rest, our mids get a rest. We're not just going one end to the other, helter-skelter.
Becomes the first multiple goal scorer for the match, and Sydney able to take marks inside 50, 7-1 so far for the match. Back in the middle, Grundy wins down the tap against me. Rowbottom spins out of traffic, drives a long ball towards the teeth of goal. Rowbottom caught underneath. In fact, it's Hayward who's caught underneath it, and Frost rushes it through for a minor score. So it's all one-way traffic at the moment. A 38-point lead Sydney's way at the 6-minute mark of the second quarter.
A lot of Macs out there. We got 2 McDonalds, a McKenzie, a McInerney, a McCartan.
And a Max Ramsden.
Just loaded up as Scrimshaw kicks out to half-back. Newcomb, hand pass away towards Impey, to Amon rather, bounces the kick down the wing, passing through his Hardwick, hand pass away to Connor McDonald, gives it to Warple, he's tackled by McInerney and a ball up on the wing. 38-point lead for the Swans.
Corbin, for you, buddy, at Hawthorn or Sydney?
I think his early days in Sydney was really underrated. Like his 2014 grand final, he was phenomenal, even though they lost the game. So I'm probably going to take the Swans, just to be different. Quick kick inside the forward 50 for the Hawks. Ginnivan overruns it though in the forward pocket. Melican receives the ball from Fox and then kicks it out towards half-back. Heaney the target. Thought he had his flying to footy blocked by Amon. Said keep rolling as Lloyd hands it away to Amon. Floats it into the forward pocket. Somehow bounced at right angles. Stayed alive. Hardwick goes back, collects. He's crunched. Umpire says he's taken high. Free kick for Hardwick in the left forward pocket. And the Hawthorn fans in the house have a chance to cheer after they've been really silenced for the last half hour.
It was just good hunt, good attack from Blake Hardwick. Just stayed in it. Didn't give up on the ball. It looked like it was going to float out of bounds on the full, didn't it? But at right angles, as you called, Corby. Put his head over it, won a free kick.
Hardwick. Doesn't quite hit it. Doesn't make the line from 25 out. It's kept alive by the Swans, and Joel shuts the footy, kicks the goal. Hold the phone. No, he doesn't. That kick won't count. And there's somehow a free kick picked out here. Did anyone spot what that was for? It's going Sydney's way, and Melican will get it last line of defence, but Hawthorn fans ain't happy. And
front on contact for Austin.
Was it there?
Yeah. Okay. You can't touch him.
Blakey to Melican, goes short to Lloyd. He marks in the left back pocket. Hawthorn fans are getting involved vocally. As Jack Lloyd looks out to left half-backs, wants a player all on his own. The mark is taken by Fox. Fox hasn't moved yet. Now he does as he's called to play on. He'll hug the boundary line around the Shane stand side and finds Roberts. Turns it, comes out inboard. Blakey dropped the mark. Marbiel Joel comes racing at him. Had to squeeze the kick forward towards the boundary. McKenzie slides in front for Hawthorn. Knocks it forward. Cunningham's hand pass to Roberts. Now Blakey and Scholl are wrestling off the ball. Lloyd tries to spin through traffic. Locked up by the Hawthorn midfield. And all of a sudden a bit of passion starting to emerge in this game. Marbiel Joel into Blakey. McInerney's into Connor McDonald. Just a few little spot fires taking place.
38 points, Sydney's lead. 10-minute mark, second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Warner, hand pass to Lloyd, to Blakey. Tries to hand pass into McKenzie. Ball rolls Hawthorn's way. Newcomb gives it to Joel inside 50. To Connor McDonald. Hand pass to Warple. Hurried kick, turnover. And Gordon's back to save the day. Marks top of the defensive goal square. Extra hand passes in close, and in the end forces the pressure kick and a turnover. The Swans can work it out of defence. Gordon to Jordan. Long kick to Marty. Marks in front of the benches, moves it down with a long kick to half forward. Patley never took his eyes off it. Takes the mark 60 from home. They're out downhill. And it'll be marked by Wicks, who can just walk it in to the open goal, and the Swans go coast to coast. Make it 7 on the trot. And Sam Wicks has got a couple. Sydney 9-4-58, Hawthorn 2-2-14. Sydney now by 44 points, 10.5 gone second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Brett Delidio and Brad Sewell.
Yeah, it was the extra pressure that was on the Warple kick, wasn't it? Just forced that turnover. Maybe Connor McDonald could have turned himself and then tried to find one versus just being unselfish and feeding back. But great pressure from Sydney. They're just relentless, aren't they? And then their ability to spread and get out. The easy kick out to Amati, then Papley had the step as well on his opponent. Wicks was all by himself. Ran into an open goal, as you called, Corby. Won't kick too many easy ones than that.
Terrific work rate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
4 disposals for Sam Wicks for 2 goals, trying to lock in his spot in this Sydney lineup. And all of a sudden we're as wide as it's been, 44 points. The Sydney kicking 7 unanswered goals. Back in the middle of the ground, Will Day tries to break his way through. He's locked up by Heaney, Rowbottom and Grundy. The umpire will ball it up just to the right of the centre circles. Umpire tosses it in the air. Lloyd Meek in a tangle with Grundy. Grundy slaps it down. It spills the way of Newcomb. Tries to get a hand pass over the top to Weddle in that famous number 23. Kicks up towards 50. Marbion Chol crashes the pack. Spills to Connor McDonald. Hand pass to Moore into traffic. And Hardwick can't get rid of it. Moore has another go. Hand pass to Jack Ginnivan off the outside of the boots. He misses to the right-hand side. Trying to snap off the outside of the ball. One against the flow, but it just couldn't come up with a goal. 43 points as the Sydney Swans lead.
So good defensively. The Swans looked like Hawthorn got out with the chain of handballs running into space, but Swans just did enough to slow them up.
Roberts with the kick-out duties, goes for a run, takes a bounce, and then goes long up to the wing. Amati in the pack, no mark, spills down to Amon. Slick hands to Mitchell, his hand pass a turnover. Warner for Sydney, hand pass away to Wicks. Gives it to Lloyd, handball to Adams, hand pass to Jordan, hand pass Lloyd wasn't expecting, shot past him. Connor McDonald collects and he's tackled. Ball up in the middle of the G.
On paper, kicking efficiency is an issue for Hawthorn. It's 42%, in part due because of Sydney's pressure.
In this second quarter, in which Sydney have booted 3 goals to none. Over the shoulder and a free kick going Sydney's way, and now 50.
Wow.
So
must have said something, had to have.
Yeah, so Lloyd Meek got the free kick, and then
Brody hit him in the afterwards, I think.
Hit him after it.
Yeah.
Gave him one.
I was going to say he's in range, Lloyd Meek, but he had just gone from where he was, given his shot last week. But
Corby gave him 60 metres. I think the tape measure would say it was maybe 70 or 75, and this is far easier. Directly in front, 15 metres out from goal.
Never easier clinchy for a big ruckman from here.
There's a few little guys who are floating around, but Lloyd Meek is settled on the shot on goal. Hawthorn just desperately need a response. Can their ruckman deliver? Meek from 15 out, puts it through. And didn't they need that? Hawthorn with their first goal since the 13-minute mark of the opening term. It comes at the 13-minute mark of the second quarter. The Swans have booted 7 goals in between that. 9-4-58 the Sydney Swans to Hawthorn 3-3-21. 13 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. You with Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio.
Watching that back, Sully, you gave me that many of those when we used to play against each other. And you never got one free kick. If that's what we get these days.
Even though he dropped to the ground each time.
So the original ruck battle was one across the shoulder and then gave him a little jab to the chest, which the umpire saw and didn't like that.
Mate, that's one thing I wasn't quick enough in the head, I don't think, to drop to the ground with that sort of stuff. My old man always said, get up, you're not hurt.
You got a few Oscars for it, though.
Yeah, well, I'd make a little noise.
Brett Sewell, Brett Delidio, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. 14 minutes into the second term. Sydney by 37. They're going forward here. Warner, hand pass out of the centre square to Adams, who's tackled. Umpire says ball up. Centre half forward for the Swans. Mitch Lewis was the laid out coming in for Hawthorn, so Max Ramsden takes his place and starts as the sub. And Braden Campbell, picked 5 in the draft a couple of years back, is the starting sub for Sydney. From the restart, Nash tried to get a kick away. He's booting the tackle. Ball spills the Swans' way. And a free kick for a high tackle. It's going to Adams. Put his head over the footy and was taken high. He'll get the kick. 50 out. True centre half forward for the Swans.
I didn't really see that one. Corby, was it just him burrowing in as he does best, Hey Adams?
Yeah, he's
just a bit clumsy and careless from the Hawks. Mids, just watching it on the replay, head down. Just a late one from Mitchell.
got him front on.
Hard when you're being dragged down to try and get yourself out of the way.
Tay Adams in his third game for his third club. Kicks from 49 metres out. His drop punt is pretty good. He pops it through. And the Swans answer straight back. Margin back beyond 7 goals. Sydney by 43. 15 and a half gone second term. 10-4 to 3-3.
Important pickup, Tay Adams for Sydney. Allows those outside runners to do what they do best and get those handball receives. He's so good, honest and strong in the contest. You know what you're going to get from Adams.
What happens when Parker's back, Mills is back?
So where's Parker at? I was wondering that.
We just played today.
He did.
In the Scooby-Doos, had 34.
That's okay.
And then Mills, I'm not 100% sure as to where he's at.
7 or 8 away.
Yeah, so there's plenty of time for that. But I wonder about, like, their mix at the moment is brilliant. Can you play all of those boys inside? I just wonder whether you become a bit slow.
Jess Webster, keep an eye on Will Hayward, who's also come to the bench with a bit of a limp. Back in the middle of the ground, McKenzie volleys a kick inside 50, and Dylan Moore takes a juggling mark. Talk about something out of nothing for Hawthorn. And Moore came charging out at rapid pace, was able to hang on to the mark directly in front. He's 45 metres out from goal. Has one already for the match. He's one of the heart and soul players for the Hawks, directly in front. From just inside 50, bit off balance, he puts it out to the right. It won't be a score, and off hands it comes off McLean and Weddle, and a boundary throw in the right forward pocket. Jess Webster on the boundary.
You spotted it. Will Hayward's come to the bench looking very sore, and he's straight down to the race with a physio. It looks like a lower left leg injury. He was very proppy, so he's gone down to the rooms to be further assessed. Sydney
have kicked 8 of the last 9 goals in the game. 43 points, Sydney's lead. Time on second term comes down towards Blakey. He's tackled. In fact, we're not even in time on. 17 minutes into the quarter. Blakey locked up by McKenzie and Chol in the forward pocket. For the Hawks, can they get a stoppage goal here? Chol leaps up, grabs it out of the ruck. Hand pass goes back to McKenzie. Knocked down to Amon. He too is tackled, and we'll have another stoppage inside the forward 50 for Hawthorn. And ball up right half forward, about 35 out from the Hawks goal. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here with Matt Clinch.
Thrown up. Marbiel Chol doing the ruck work against McLean. It spills down Mackinnon's way. Can't get a disposal away. It's a fair intent there from Jack Ginnivan, who was almost right in the last at Caulfield as he was on the back of James Jordan. Trying to win a free kick. The umpire will ball it up. Right forward pocket for the Hawks as it stops in the air. Chol can't get a tap down. Lloyd with a hand pass away. Jordan too slow. Butler's taken high. And we'll get the free kick at left half back for the Sydney Swans. James Jordan, another one added in the off-season, the former Demon. Premiership player, of course, with the Demons as he looks up to the wing. Into the direction of Amadi. He's wedged in between 2 Hawthorn defenders. Sicily spoils it down. Gets a hand pass back to Seamus Mitchell. Hand pass away to Amon, to Weddle under pressure. Locked up by Jake Lloyd. Spills out the way of Sicily once more. Here, Jake Lloyd scrap for it. Wicks tries to charge his way through. And the umpire will ball it up under the Shane Warne stand side. Sydney by 43 points. 19 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Lance Franklin is in attendance, watching his 2 former teams. Presented a frame jumper with the number 23, both the Hawthorn and Sydney one at the President's function pre-game, and we're told he will speak to the crowd at half-time, so we'll endeavour to bring that to you as McKenzie, darting away from the stoppage, kicks it forward but turns it over. Melican at the intercept mark. It goes across the half-back line to Lloyd.
Do you reckon he'd keep that, Sully? The Sydney and the Hawthorn jumper?
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty special one for him. Definitely.
As Lloyd looks into the middle of the ground. Oh, overshot it on the kick, trying to link up with McInerney. Clean bowls Morrison too. Impey comes in to clean it up for Hawthorn. Took a little while to get rid of it. Hand pass out wide. Never broke stride. Morrison collects, kicks to half forward, and here's Dylan Moore. 70 from home, left half forward. Sun setting. Not just on Sunday here in Melbourne as the ground fully in shadows now, but also on round 7, which has lasted 5 days. Finds Amon, looks inside 50, and here's Gunston, who hasn't had a touch so far today. And the 3-time Premiership Hawk marks just left of centre, 50 out.
Great patience there from Amon. I thought he might have just got the hurry up from the umpire and felt like he needed to just dump that one, but just found a little pocket for Gunston to get into. He never stopped working, Gunston.
The only Hawthorn premiership player left in their 23 today. His drop punt sails goalward, but it misses out to the left. They're on the struggle bus again, the Hawks, so 10-4 to 3-4. It is Sydney by 7 goals as we tick into time on in the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Jess Webster on the boundary. Brad Saul and Brett Delidio, your call team.
Nick Blakey with possession number 15 brings Sydney back into play. He's been going lower to kicking disposal efficiency today, which is unusual for him. Gave it to Rowbottom, trying to give it back to Blakey, almost comes undone. Marbiel Chol putting the pressure on. Hand pass back to Melican. Out of defence, kicks up to left half back, and Jake Lloyd takes the mark. Almost a string of errors to bring about a Hawthorn goal, but not quite to be. Roberts offers a lead. He marks inside the defensive 50. There's Heaney free on the broadcast side if he wants to switch. Goes straight through the middle of the ground to Rowbottom. He marks at the back edge of the centre square. Sydney by 42 points. His kick out towards Jordan wasn't all that clean. Gathers on a half volley. Back to Rowbottom. Kicks up to the wing, southern side. Sliding in. Jarman Impey gathers. Hand pass for Hawthorn to Lloyd Mee. Gets it to Mitchell. He dribbles a kick up the wing. Finn McGuinness gathers. Breaks the Roberts tackle. 1-2 with Connor Nash. Kicks up towards half forward. Tough ball for the flying Dylan Moore. But he marks it right half forward. Bounces off Melican. Gets back to his feet. Into the pocket for Gunston. He can't take the mark as Fox makes the spoil. It's Tom McCartan. And the ball goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Hawks. Sydney by 42 points.
Earlier today, the Gold Coast Suns by 37, powering away from West Coast in the second half. Noah Anderson best of field with 33 disposals and a couple of goals. And Jake Waterman kicked 4, continues his good season. So that was a game high in a losing team. As McLean wins the hit out from the boundary throw in. Lloyd tumbles a kick forward but picked off. McKenzie, hand pass to Moore. Was he taken high? Hump says no. Back to his feet. Outside of the right boot. Misses. Shooting goalward from about 40 out. Another behind. So 10-4 to 3-5. Sydney by 41. 22 gone second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your thoughts on the SMS? 0437 774 774. We were asking which buddy you prefer, of course, either the Sydney version of Lance Franklin or the Hawthorn one.
A kick from Matt Roberts, who's doing the kicking duties, out towards McLean. Eventually goes out of play. Scrimshaw makes the spoil, and Jack Ginneman can't keep it in. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Right near this boundary throw-in is Will Hayward, who's just doing a bit of a fitness test along the boundary. He seems to be moving okay, so I think he just copped a boot to his Achilles and he went down for treatment, but he looks like he's about to return to play, which is good news.
Thanks, Jess. Sydney by 41 points as the ball spills down to the front from the throw-in. Heaney with the hand pass to Jordan and McInerney. Goes back to Brodie Grundy at right half-back. Underground hand pass. Bounces off the turf to Rowbottom. Around Warpaw with a hand pass to McInerney. Dumped in a tackle by Finn McGuinness. Meek with a hand pass to McKenzie. Back to Meek. Shoves a hand pass forward. It's over the head of Warpaw. It stays in for a moment and Florent sees it over the line. Hasn't been the prettiest last 3 or 4 minutes from either side.
You're right. Their inability just to hit targets consistently, the Hawks, is putting them under so much more pressure than they need to, whether that be by hand or foot. They've got teammates that are out and they just put it at their feet or cough the ball up. It makes it so hard.
Sydney by 41. Sunday footy on ABC Sport as Meek palms it down. McKenzie tackled straight away and a ball up. Pick 7 in the draft, Cam McKenzie, a couple of years ago. They got a few pick 7s on their list. Josh Ward, who found himself in the 2s, so he played there today. Jack Scrimshaw, of course, was drafted by the Gold Coast, now with Hawthorn. As Water's hand pass ended up with his opposite number, Morrison wins it for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Connor McDonald. Water makes up for it with a crunching tackle. Wins the footy back for Sydney. Fox by hand. Away to Patley. Hand pass to Warner. Just looks straight at Connor McDonald and runs around him. Then from the wing, kicks it deep forward. McLean a one-on-one. Gets rid of his direct opponent. In Scrimshaw, and the ump says that's all okay. Out-muscles him and takes the mark. 30 metres out directly in front. And the Hawthorn fans feel like they're not getting the rub of the green here.
Yeah, I've seen worse paid. I've seen worse not paid. The crowd's never going to agree with that. I get it. I love the work of Warner, though. How good is that? Just to say, you know what, I'm just going to turn this game. I'm going for it. I love when players just tuck it under their arm and go away and bounce.
Particularly when you look at your direct opponent, you think,
I've got you. I've got you.
Here's Hayden McLean to join the goal-kicking party. Not at the moment, at least. Lucky to register it behind. The big fella sprays that out to the right. 42 points is Sydney's lead. 25 gone in the second term.
Scrimshaw brings the Hawks back into play to Impey, who marks in the left back pocket under the Ponsford stand at the city end of the MCG. Impey looks up the members' side, puts it in the direction of Lloyd Meek, needs Newcombe to fly in front, couldn't complete the mark. Off the hands of Connor Nash, hand pass to McGuinness, back to Nash, ran into Brodie Grundy, big tackle holding the ball. Sydney take the advantage through row bottom, it's going to come back. And now the umpire saying it's a Hawthorn free kick. Connor Nash was taken high. So, I don't know, half a dozen one way, half a dozen the other, really. And Hawthorn get the free kick at left half back. Sydney by 42 points. Nash, the Irishman, looks up towards half forward. Hardwick sets himself. Melican makes the spoil from behind. Meeks onto it, the rover. Hand pass to Ginnivan into the pocket for Moore. Can't take the mark. Roberts makes the spoil for Sydney. Heaney, beautiful hand pass to Florin under pressure. Hard against the boundary. Kicks close to the line. It just stays in. Bounces out of play in front of James Jordan and Harry Morrison for a boundary throw-in. Sydney by 42 points. 26 minutes gone, second quarter.
Another lopsided game for the Hawks. Obviously found themselves in the winners list last week, drawing the lowly Roos. They won that by 45 and felt good about themselves coming in, and yet they've kicked just the 3 goals. It's decide very much in the premiership picture in the Sydney Swans. Sydney by 42 from the boundary throw-in. Grundy moves aside his opposing ruckman illegally. Free kick, Lloyd Meek. Sun setting after a gorgeous day in Melbourne. Got the 23. Clear blue skies. The floodlights starting to take over as the foreshadows appear as Meek kicks deep inside 50 and Melican takes the intercept mark. Top of the defensive goal square for Sydney. Short to Lloyd. Lloyd a long kick to McLean. Leaps up, can't take the mark. In the end, Hawthorn with numbers. Chance to reload. Amon puts it back inside 50. Ginnivan. And Jacks all alone takes the mark. Centre half forward for Hawthorn.
Nice play there by Hawthorn as it's so hard in those slow plays, the Swans. They set up really well defensively. It ended up being an uncontested mark. But Grundy, I think it was. Then the ball went out to the flank. Amon is so deadly on that left foot, and Ginnivan just finding space. Top of the 50.
Goalless only once this year in his new colours. A lifelong Hawthorn fan, now in the brown and gold. His right-footed drop punt misses. And to the right. 10-5 to 3-6. 41 points Sydney's lead. 28 gone second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Sydney have kicked 8 of the last 9 goals in the game.
They've actually been having a good quarter, the Hawks. 14-7 the inside 50s, but haven't got much reward for it. From the long kick in the middle of the ground, it's Newcombe for the Hawks. Hand pass to Ginnivan in the middle of the ground to Jarman Impey. Nice side step around row bottom. Jags it back on his right. Kicks towards Hardwick. Spoiled away from him by Blakey. Running onto it, Lloyd. Gives the hand pass back to Blakey. In the left back pocket. He kicks long up the wing looking for McLean. Amon flies in front. And off hands it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in. Under the Shane Warne stand, Sydney 10-5-65 to Hawthorn 3-6-24. The margin 41 points at the 29-minute mark of the second quarter. 4-1 in this second quarter, Sydney's way. As Heaney emerges from the stoppage, hand pass away to Rowbottom for the Sydney Swans. Links up with Florin. Hand pass to Chad Warner, centre wing. Takes a look around, decides he wants to feed the hand pass to Errol Goulden. Not a bad decision. Looks inside 50. Papley the target. And leaning back, he reels in the mark. With Frost unable to close ground. And what a pass once more from Errol Goulden. Maybe it was a good call by the Chad.
It was a funny bit of play, wasn't it? Warner almost stopped waiting for Errol Goulden to catch up and run to his outside so he could give him the handball on the left, on the boundary side for his left leg. But that was an incredible kick, penetrating to get in behind the Hawthorn defence, who weren't set up badly, but such was the kick, it just put the advantage of Papley.
Papley kicked the goal after the quarter-time siren, looking for his second. He comes in and misses to the left-hand side from around 35 metres out. Sydney lead by 42 points, 4-3 in this second quarter to Hawthorn's 1-4.
Last 5 scoring shots in the game have all been behind, so 3 for Hawthorn, 2 for Sydney. Some of the polish is coming off it as Scrimshaw strolls outside of the goal square, kicks wide for McKenzie, but it's whacked out of bounds.
Yeah, Hawthorn in particular have been a bit sloppy. Maybe it's getting late in this second quarter, but just handballs, missing targets, a bit fumbly over in the contest. That we're looking forward to a break at half-time.
Hawks with a special version of their brown and gold jumper for the Anzac Appeal round. It's got the Anzac Cove, Gallipoli Peninsula in Turkey on it. The background print behind the brown stripes on the gold base. Also has Lest We Forget on the back, and the red poppies feature as well, both one on the front, multiple on the lower portion of the jumper, behind the numbers, or below the numbers more so. Free kick from the stoppage. Newcombe takes it, kicks down to half forward. Floating across is McGuinness, can't mark, and a pack forms behind him. As Nash is locked up, we'll have a ball up on the broadcast wing as we tick towards half-time. It is Sydney by 7 goals.
At half-time, of course, we'll hear from Lance Franklin, who's going to address the Hawthorn fans. His first time back at the MCG since retiring. Heaney tries to break clear. McKenzie locks him up on the wing in front of the members. Played, of course, in 6 grand finals, but did not win a grand final for the Sydney Swans. Played in 12, 13 and 14, 3 years in a row, in which he lost 2 and won 1. The middle year, of course, was the premiership at the Hawks in 2013. Umpire throws it aloft once more. Lloyd Meek taps it down. Nash dumped in a tackle. Spills out to McGuinness, hard against the boundary line. Rowbottom eventually knocks it out of play.
So 8, 12, 13, 14, 16, 22.
Yep. So 2008 lost to Geelong. Won in 2000.
One to Geelong, against Geelong.
The one against Geelong. Lost against Sydney in 2012. Won in 2013.
From the boundary throw-in, that'll do us. No clean touch from that takeaway. Lance Franklin watching on his 2 former teams, and it was the one he was most recent with that are well out on top at the half. 10-6-66. Sydney, they lead Hawthorn 3-6-24. It is a 7-goal break at half-time. The Swans by 42 points. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the action. Jess Webster on the boundary. And our ABC Sport experts, Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio. The goal kickers for Sydney, I've got 2 each for Logan McDonald and Sam Wicks. And then singles for Adams, Heaney, Papley, Florent, Gordon and Amati. So that's 8 different goal kickers for Sydney to half-time. Meanwhile, for Hawthorn, it's pretty grim reading. 1 for Moore, 1 for Hardwick, 1 for Meek. In that quarter alone, the inside 50 count was 15-8 Hawthorn's way, and yet it was 4 goals to 1 in the quarter. And after Sydney led by 25 at quarter time, they lead by 42 at the half. We'll get some quick thoughts from Brett Delidio and Brad Sewell. We'll take you to the latest from the ABC newsroom, and hopefully by the time we've done that, we'll be back with Lance Franklin here at the MCG.
Yeah, well, I think both teams need a little reset, Sewell. That just started to become a bit scrappy there towards the back end of that second quarter, first half. But Sydney are just dominating most of the play here. Their ability to hold on to the footy, they're kicking it far better than Hawthorn. But we can't just say that it's poor skills. It's great pressure too from Sydney. Their ability to hunt the man but then lay tackles as well and put Hawthorn under immense pressure and just make them second guess their decision of where they want to go to, but force them into a rush decision as well, Sewell. So it is challenging, but a little reset here, come back out and see whether we can get some more goals on the board from a Hawthorn point of view.
I think what's been clear is when Sydney have been out and they've had the chance to rebound, they've found space. They're just a more mature, hardened side, aren't they, Lids? There's more assurances with what they're doing. They're much better drilled at the moment. Hawthorn, that quarter, had inside 50s 15-8. So their connection, mid-forward connection, was poor. Not to take anything away from the Sydney defence, who stack up really well, set up well, and then rebounded on a number of occasions. But Hawthorn just don't have the polish. They don't have the class on the field. They don't have the maturity. They don't have the hardened bodies to have an impact. And that's been the story of Hawthorn's year so far.
It's the 3rd time in the last 4 games they've kicked only 3 goals to half-time.
Yeah, that's worrying, isn't it?
10-6 to 3-6. It's pretty tough going for the Hawks at the moment. Sydney well out on top. They lead it by 7 goals at half-time. Lance Franklin coming up here at the MCG. We'll be back with you shortly from the ground as round 7 comes to a close of the AFL Premiership season. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Let's see what's happening in the ABC newsroom. This is ABC News with David Rowlands. Thousands of people have marched through Melbourne CBD as well as Canberra, Perth and several regional towns as part of nationwide protests demanding an end to violence against women. The No More rally is one of many that have been held across the country this weekend, where anti-violence advocates are calling on the federal government to declare violence against women a national emergency. It follows a spate of deaths recently involving women who have allegedly been killed by men known to them. One protester in Melbourne has called on other men to do more to stop gender-based violence.
We need to stand up and be counted. There's too much violence, there's just too much violence going on and I've had enough.
A Western Australian man has faced court charged with murdering a 30-year-old woman whose body was discovered following a house fire south of Perth. Blake Kagi reports.
WA Homicide Squad detectives allege the 35-year-old man assaulted the woman at their home in Warnbro on Thursday night before setting the property alight. Emergency services personnel found the woman's body in the early hours of Friday morning. Police say the man fled the home with the victim's 3-year-old child. The pair subsequently went to Rockingham Hospital for treatment for smoke inhalation. The man was not required to plead when he faced the Perth Magistrates Court today, charged with murder and criminal damage by fire. He's been remanded in custody to return to court on May the 29th.
The 10th man charged over a riot outside a Western Sydney church earlier this month has been granted bail with strict conditions. Joseph Nader appeared in Parramatta Bail Court this morning, charged with riot and throwing a missile at a police officer. The 27-year-old's lawyer told the court he threw a piece of wood into the air during the melee, but that it was not aimed at anyone, nor did it hit anyone. Mr Nader will be subject to strict bail conditions, including living with his mother, adhering to a curfew, reporting to police 3 times a week and handing over his passport. Tasmania police say they're investigating a series of driving incidents and an aggravated assault in the state's north yesterday and are urging anyone with information to come forward. Meg Whitfield has more on this story.
Police were called to St Leonard's Picnic Ground car park just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon after a report of a man being threatened with what was believed to be a firearm. Police say it followed an altercation with another man, where the same offender allegedly kicked the man's dog. The alleged offender then left the scene in a blue Commodore, with another car, a white Holden Rodeo dual cab, leaving at the same time. Police say initial investigations suggest the blue Commodore was then involved in an evade incident at Dilston and dangerous driving at Ravenswood. The car was later found burnt out on the Tasman Highway at Waverley.
An anonymous bidder has paid more than $2.2 million for the gold pocket watch worn by the wealthiest passenger on board the Titanic. The BBC's Duncan Kennedy was at the sale in southwest England.
There's nothing like the Titanic to evoke memories, passion and buyers. Today's auction included 2 of the items that Titanic collectors desire most of all. The gold pocket watch belonging to John Jacob Astor, a passenger on board, who was then one of the richest people in the world. And the brown leather violin bag owned by Wallace Hartley, who famously led the orchestra on deck as the ship foundered. They died along with 1,500 others when the Titanic sank in the North Atlantic in April 1912.
The Pope is travelling to the Italian city of Venice, where he'll visit the 60th Art Biennale being held there. Among other things, Pope Francis will see the Holy See's Pavilion at the massive international exhibition. He'll also visit the women's prison on the nearby island of Giudecca. Turning to sport, and Melbourne City is through to the A-League Women's Soccer Grand Final after winning its second semi-final leg against the Newcastle Jets by 3-0. Rihanna Pollicina scored first, getting around Jets keeper Isabella Nino in the 26th minute of play. Hannah Wilkinson and Letitia McKenna then added 2 more after half-time. City went into the game in the box seat, having already amassed a 3-0 aggregate lead in the first leg of the semi-finals. Melbourne City will now face Sydney FC in the grand final in Melbourne. And in the National Rugby League, Newcastle has beaten the Dolphins by 18 points to 14. This is ABC News.
Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think, or allow you not to. Delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo.
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Isaac Hendy's got a free kick here for a hold from Connor Nash, so he's outside 50 to the left. He veers out to the right, one of the superstar players of the competition, for just goals like that.
Hand pass releases, McInerney looking inside 50 again, just dabs it short. And McDonald marks a step inside the 50. They've got the last 5 of the game. As Logan McDonald makes it a half dozen, just thumps it through from outside 50. And there are huge danger signs for Sam Mitchell and the Hawks. And Sydney in rhythm, moves it down the long kick to half forward. Patley never took his eyes off it, takes the mark 60 from home. They're out downhill, and it'll be marked by Rex, who can just walk it in to the open goal, and the Swans go coast to coast. Make it 7 on the trot. The restart, Nash tried to get a kick away. This is booting the tackle, ball spills the Swans way, and a free kick for a high tackle. It's going to Adams, put his head over the footy and was taken high. Tay Adams, his 3rd game for his 3rd club, kicks from 49 metres out. His drop punt is pretty good. He pops it through.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds there from the second term. Despite having 7 more inside 50s, Hawthorn were outscored 4-1. It is the Swans by 42 points at half-time. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clinch, Jess Webster on the boundary, Brett Delidio and Brad Sewell. The earlier game to complete round 7 on the Sunday. Gold Coast by 37 points over West Coast. So the Suns by less than a goal at half-time. They powered away in the second half. Noah Anderson best of field with 33 disposals and 2 goals, while Jake Waterman continued his fine year up front, kicking 4 goals in a losing team. All right, Lance Franklin has just been presented to the crowd here at the MCG, of course. The champion footballer and surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. 354 games, 182 with Hawthorn, 172 with the Sydney Swans. He's got his kids out there, and a warm round of applause. He caught up with his good mate, Jordan Lewis, a short time ago.
Here we are with Buddy and about 1,000 kids. But what's it like to be back in front of, well, probably the 2 sides you've played with, but mainly the Hawthorn faithful at the MCG?
Goosebumps, mate. Yeah, goosebumps. Just nice to be back here. Spent obviously 9 years playing at this great football club, and then spent another 10 years playing another great football club. So I feel very blessed to have played at 2 great clubs.
How important was it to maybe come back here to the MCG and say a final goodbye to so many people around this stadium that have enjoyed your career?
Yeah, it was really important to me. I wanted to come back and thank all the Hawthorn fans. You guys have been unbelievable. Obviously, won the 2 flags with you guys, so I wanted to come back. And it's been awesome. Went to the club yesterday. Sam Mitchell got me down with the kids. They absolutely loved it. And it's, brought back so many memories, that's for sure. 111
games, 342 goals at the MCG. What made it so special for you, and why did you love playing at this great stadium?
It's the home of football, isn't it? Like, there's no better stadium in Australia, that's for sure. And absolutely loved my time playing football here, as we both did. And we had some special times, that's for sure.
Do you have a favourite memory? I mean, 2 goals that I passed to you, and you ran away from a couple of Essendon players. But do you have a favourite one, maybe jumping over Sam Dwyer, one of my good mates in the middle of the MCG? Is there one that sticks out?
Probably that one, and a couple of goals against Essendon, I think those ones. But for me, it's the big finals we played here over the years. There was some huge games I've played here, and then obviously the grand finals and those premierships are really important.
Can the Lewis boys jump on a bit of a trip around the MCG, hey?
And this is what it's about, isn't it? It's all about family. All the kids, Ruffy's kids, Lewis's kids, and my kids here today. 19 years on from when we were first drafted to be here today. Who would have thought? But yeah, it's an incredible moment for us.
Round of applause for one of the greatest players to ever play the game, Buddy Franklin.
There's no doubt about that. 1,066 goals Lance Franklin presented to the crowd here at the MCG. What do you think about that, Sully?
I'm just thinking if this game continues in the same fashion, let's just talk about Buddy Franklin and some highlights for the second half. That could be more enjoyable. It's just great to see, isn't it? And he touched on a couple of really nice points there. 19 years ago, those guys got drafted together, and then to see them out there with all of their kids, and yeah, it's about Bud, but for him to have his two best mates out there and their kids as well, that's really special.
When you tell your kids about Lance Franklin, what will you tell them?
He was the best player that I played with. He was bigger than the game. He was a genuine rock star. And to have played with him when he was a kid, and I think it would have been a different experience at Sydney. But as a kid, he was just a precocious, cheeky, talented athlete. And for 198 centimetres to run and move the way that he did, and for him to be able to use the football as well as Silverioli, who's half his size, just extraordinary.
Liz, you have a unique perspective. You were drafted the same year as him. Obviously, you went number 1 overall. What did you know about Lance Franklin at the time?
Well, a heap, to be honest, because I spent the previous year with him and Ruff and a number of other boys that ended up playing AFL footy in the AIS Academy. So got quite a few trips away with Bud, and from what Sully's just saying, and I know plenty of stories about him that we won't talk about on air, but he was very cheeky and was almost... He wasn't bigger than the game then, but let's just say that Bud knew, I think, that he was going to be a damn good player, and that he was. But he was almost like a half-forward flanker, someone's 6'5", 6'6", because you didn't often see him take huge, big pack marks, but his ability at ground level and the ability to get up and down the ground. We had a fitness guy come from Hawthorn who trained, obviously, the boys there, and they talk about the blackjack sessions you guys did, the 3x7 150s. And he was one of the only blokes, I think, with Croft maybe or Clarkey that absolutely clocked it. And we did that session. I was just like, oh my God, in awe of his running ability. It's like, oh, he's just so talented. No, he's not. He works damn hard. That's why he gets out and gets so many looks on goal.
Yeah, it feels a bit like that's always a bit of a pernicious stereotype, I think, too, when it comes to Indigenous players too, where it's, they're so freaky, and it sort of goes overlooked a lot of the time. Like you said, that the hard work aspect that's involved, and Lance Franklin especially.
No doubt he's naturally talented, but he was like a big kid around goals. His last leave the track, always mucking around, having set shots on goal. And it looks like he's being a clown. It looks like he's just mucking around, but those things he did on a weekly basis during those 2 hours of a game, because he'd done that so many times, and that's just what he loved to do. He made it look like joy. He made it look like fun and just playtime, and that's the way he played the game.
He was a generational figure, wasn't he? He's fourth on the all-time goal kickers list behind Lockett, 1,360, Coventry, 1,209, Dunstall, 1,254, and then Lance Franklin with 1,066. I'm not sure we're going to see another 100-goal kicker maybe in this current stage of footy in which we're witnessing, and yet he was able to kick 113 back in 2008. And the other part of the story is in a time in which social media came around, he signed the longest ever deal we saw in footy to make his way to the Harbour City, and there was a lot of people, me included, who thought at the start of that deal that he'll be lucky to get through the 10 years, and by the end he was able to still reach such a high level. And for me, it's the memory that always sticks in my mind is that game against Adelaide, the elimination final, which kicked 7 at Docklands. And just a player who single-handedly was able to change a final, and it sort of brought you back to the great memories of your upbringing when the legends of that game were so imposing in grand finals and finals, and Franklin was able to do so as a young player against the Adelaide Crows.
Oh, I agree. It felt like that was the real breakout moment, wasn't it? I mean, he'd already had an amazing year, but to announce yourself like that in a big-time game.
That was the birth of the rock star, was that game. And, it was the celebration, and he wanted the ball in his hands. He was the guy that wanted to kick the goal, and that was the loudest game in my career. And you could almost feel the stadium shake after he turned around and gave the crowd the double pythons.
Here he is just below us, and tapping it up with a few old friends downstairs and signing a few autographs, and there's plenty of kids that are huddled around as well to get a high five and a selfie with Bud on his way out as he thanks the crowd and disappears from the playing arena. What an absolute icon, Lance Franklin.
Can I just say, I got him once, Sully.
Oh,
under 16s. And there's only one reason why I got him. He kicked 0-7.
Had 7 looks at it.
He had 7 looks at it. He didn't kick one, so I'll take that. I beat him today.
Brett Delidio alongside Brad Sewell, Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy, and Jess Webster on the boundary. Your thoughts on the SMS 0437 774 774. Shout out to Mark, who's listening via the ABC in the Goldfields on a long drive back to Kalgoorlie. G'day, Mark. Appreciate your message. Will the grand final be played at the SCG if it's between Sydney and GWS? No, it will not be. It will definitely be played here at the MCG regardless. More of your memories as well on the SMS for Lance Franklin. Just to tidy up some housekeeping, so elsewhere in the footy world, Patrick Dangerfield has done a hamstring on his left side, so the 34-year-old is going to be sidelined, you'd think, for at least the next month. It's the second time that he's done it this season. Now, the Bulldogs are pondering surgery for Cody Waitman, who's dislocated his elbow again. That would be 12 weeks that the small forward would be sidelined if the Dogs decide to take that path. Riley West has been offered a one-match ban for his bump on Brandon Walker. Walker was sent to do the Scat 6 test, did return to the game, but the match review officer has graded that medium, and as a result, Riley West will have to try and beat a one-match ban handed to him earlier today. Meanwhile, in the VFL match, there was a serious incident involving Sam Butler, who snapped his leg. So early reports a broken leg, low down near the ankle. The game was delayed for a significant period of time. Both teams actually left the ground, and the third quarter ran nearly 67 minutes. In the end, Butler, unfortunately, taken away in an ambulance to hospital. Chad Wingard did make his return in better news for Hawthorn, kicked 2 goals, having played the first half. And Luke Parker, coming back from a broken arm, had a game-high 34 disposals. The last half of a lengthy round 7, the Anzac Appeal round in the AFL. It is the Swans by 42 points on ABC Sport. Here's Matt Clinch.
Grundy and Meek, it spills down the way of the Hawks, and Will Day gets a kick to centre-half forward when Connor McDonald marks on his chest. It's a Day with 8 disposals for the match so far in his first game of 2024. McDonald goes out wide to Weddle, who goes short to Morrison. He's just outside 50 out to the right. Might have been a sub made by the Hawks as well, as Ramsden's on the field. We'll get down to Jess Webster in a moment. Kicks long to the teeth of goal. No mark claim. Papley tries to knock it out. In the defensive half to Warner. He had it, lost it. Taylor Adams under pressure. Spills to Blakey. Out past to Heaney. Gets it away to Florin. Kicks out to the wing. The foot races on, going back with a flight. Logan McDonald takes the mark at left half back.
McDonald looks back inboard. Sydney variety goes short to Grundy. Kerry from Penguin off the SMS, Hawthorn supporter, but he was great with both clubs. Wasn't his fault that Sydney didn't win premierships. The club said they were recruiting him to try and win more. And shout out to Stan as well, who's listening from the man cave. As the Swans trying to work it forward. Gordon, a rare turnover by foot. Intercept mark for Impey. Is it at half back for the Hawks? Trying to come inboard to Day. Warner breaks that up, knocks it away towards Logan McDonald. Hand pass to McLean. Handball inside 50. Day drilled in the tackle for Warner. Slammed into the deck. The ball comes out. Hawthorn win it. Sicily by hand to Frost.
Hand pass to Scrimshaw. Almost picked off by Logan McDonald. Under pressure. Frost tackle brought down, holding the ball. Will Hayward got him in the left forward pocket. He wants to centre it up, and there's a player who's been knocked down, McInerney, which prevents the umpire calling play on. So now Will Hayward might have to have the shot on goal. Just waiting for the umpire to put him on his line, which is on a 45-degree angle, around 40 metres out from goal. It's been a bit of period off the ground as well. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, just confirming that Hawthorn did activate its sub at halftime. So Max Ramsden comes into the game, and it's Jai Sarong who's been subbed out. No obvious signs of injury on the bench. He's just sitting in the back row.
Thanks, Jess. Footy in the hands of Will Hayward, who's lining up from about 45 metres out, comes in and slots it. Another one for the Sydney Swans. Their 11th goal of the match, and they start the third quarter in the same way they finished the first half. 11-6-72 to Hawthorn, 3-6-24. 2.5 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Clinchy, a question without notice. What was your most memorable Buddy Franklin moment?
Well, the game against Adelaide is what stands in my mind as... Well, I watched and thought, wow, I'm not sure there's too many other players can have this sort of impact on a game. Yeah, I mean, there's the obvious sort of Essendon goals as well, but that's the moment that sticks in mind.
Yep.
I think the thing that'll disappoint Sam Mitchell there was they had about three or four opportunities to get rid of that ball, Sully, and clear it out of their defensive 50. And then they just kept referring pressure, handball, and eventually they come unstuck. Great tackle, Will Hayward.
Grabbing it out of the ruck, Meek just bangs it forward for Hawthorn at the restart. Bouncing footy, ends up with McCartney's tackled by Joel. Lost it, comes out to Connor McDonald. Hawthorn still with it. Hand pass to McGuinness, handball to Morrison. Kicks back inboard and Heaney's back to lend a hand. Takes the intercept mark, 30 out from his defensive goal. Swans by 48, so new game high. At the back of that early goal to start this third quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sports. Short kicking game for the Swans in the back half. Brad Saul, Brett Delidio in the experts chair. Jess Webster on the boundary. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy as Gordon swings the kick all the way back to Melican and he just dabs it short for Warner. Just repeating that sub. And we'll try and find some more information out. Sarong out of the game. And Max Ramsden is into the fray as Warner kicks long to centre half forward. No mark taken. Ball hits the deck. Picked up by Scrimshaw of the Hawks. Hand pass away to Morrison at halfback.
Back inside the defensive 50. MP under pressure. Tackled by Logan McDonald holding the ball. Did well for the big key position forward to lay the tackle. And quick as a flash, a chance to shoot for his third. From pretty much directly in front, 45 metres out.
An interesting decision by Harry Morrison to go all the way across to Jarman Impey. Just left him out on an island all by himself. He's surrounded by Swans players when he had all the numbers around him here on the skinny side. Now, I understand that you want to try and change the play, but the percentage of scoring from defensive 50 is usually pretty low.
Logan McDonald out of contract at season's end. There's a couple of goals next to his name from right on 50 for the Sydney Swans. Goes and just misses, fades late to the left-hand side and a minor score. 5 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport. The Swans by 49 points.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Just confirming that the club has confirmed that Jai Sarong is a tactical sub, so no injury concerns there, which is good.
Yeah, that is good news. Thanks, Jess. Obviously, Hawthorn fans will know Jai Sarong missed large periods of last year with a heart condition, and he came back to play the last two games, so it is an early tactical sub at half-time, but good news that all is okay for Jai Sarong as a long kick goes up towards the wing. The pack forms around Grundy, and we'll have a ball up on the southern side. No, we won't. It's come out the back door, and the ump says keep rolling. So Moore, hand pass away to Amon, kicks down the wing, and here's Cholu takes the mark. Logo broadcast side. And looking for a free kick for in the zone. The Hawthorn fans, the ump says nothing doing there. Offhand spills down to Ramsden, the sub, who's on the ground. Hand pass away to Amon. Handball inside 50 and a few bodies hit the deck and the Swans able to clean it up. Florent, hand pass to Warner with explosive speed, just bursts out of traffic but running in the wrong direction. Kicks wide for McLean, leaps up and marks in front of Frost. McLean with the footy at half-back for the Swans. A 49-point lead for Sydney. 6 minutes into the third. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The SMS 0437 774 774.
Hayden McLean works it to Cunningham in the defensive goal square and then out to Jake Lloyd. Looks up to the wing. The target is Fox, who takes it at right half-back. He's under the Shane Warne stand and looking for options around the outer side. He's able to work at Tom McCartan. He marks centre wing. With the floodlights having taken over here at the MCG. And chip it back to Fox, who marks centre wing. So Hawthorn have their defence set along the Shane Warne stand side. So just the patience from Sydney at the moment as Fox comes inboard to Taylor Adams. Playing his third match in his new colours across the half-back line to Tom McCartan, and now switches it to Nick Blakey. He marks Members side. Now a chance to go for Sydney. He takes a bounce. Missed Papley in the middle of the ground. Moves and kicks off his shin. Dribbles it up towards half forward. Hayward gathers. Gets the hand pass away to Goulden. Corralled by Hawthorn players. Hand pass along the turf to Hayward. Back inboard to Jordan. Wants to give the hand pass away. Does so to Florent. There's still no closer to goal at left half forward. Kicks a high ball to the top of the arc. Papley caught behind against Jarman Impey. And offhands it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for the Sydney Swans.
Describe that one for us. He nearly missed his foot.
Interesting game we're watching in the last minute or so. Not complimented all that well by Nick Blakey.
We're at a game high margin, 49 points, Sydney's way. Boundary throw in. Early stages, third term. Comes down towards Rowbottom. Hand pass, threads it through to Heaney, who finishes on the run. Just grabbed it, turns, knew where the goals were, low trajectory, drop punt, and it sails through for his second. And all of a sudden it's beyond 50. As he turns and salutes his teammate. A 55-point lead for the Swans. 8 gone in the third term. Sydney 12-7-79. Hawthorn 3-6-24. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Hawks look helpless out there.
Yeah. I think that they actually defended that last little bit okay, which caused that high bomb kick from Florin in the end and the little mistake from Blakey. But when you're getting just stoppage goals like that, you can sort of see that it is a bit helpless, isn't it, Sully? And Corbin, help me here. How many goals has Heaney kicked now this year?
He's up to 11.
Yeah, there's not many midfielders in the comp that average the numbers he is in terms of possessions, but then being able to potentially kick over 20 goals for this year.
So 28 is disposals per game, and now 11 goals in, 7 matches.
Do you reckon the umpires have been citing him in the first 7 rounds?
I don't think you can miss him, can you?
No, you wouldn't have thought so.
Good-looking rooster, bright boots.
He'd have to be the Brownlow medal favourite.
Winning games, yeah.
Lloyd Meek wins down the tap against Brodie Grundy in the middle of the ground. John Newcombe tries to charge his way through, gets a hand pass to Nash, kicks inside 50 for the Hawks. It clears the hands of Finn McGuinness and Ramsden. The foot race is on. Fox gets there first. Gunston lays the tackle. Hand pass to Roberts, 15 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. Hand pass to Cunningham. Got around Moore too easily. He slipped over. Kicks up towards half-back and Connor Nash takes the intercepting mark, the Irishman, for the Hawks. Loves playing the Kangas. He had 30 disposals last week. As he goes short, Blake Hardwick marks. He is a long kick, but it's 55 metres out, hard against the boundary. Comes inboard to Will Day.
But the Hawks wish they could play North every week.
I think so, wouldn't you?
So 3 goals to half-time in 3 of their last 4 matches. It's sort of regression to the mean for Hawthorn today as the kick goes to the top of the goal square. Papley holds out Amon, wins the footy. Hand pass to Wicks, and here goes Sydney off half-back. Gives it to Gordon. Kicks down the wing. There's plenty of space to work into. Amati trying to run onto it, but he's outnumbered. And Weddle comes back to clean it up for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Sicily. Ugly kick across the half-back line, but it'll work out. Got to McKenzie. Hand pass away to Hardwick, gives it back to Cam McKenzie. The second-year Hawk, there's nothing up ahead. He's just got to tread water for a moment, gets around McInerney, and then kicks hurriedly, again outnumbered. Gunston there with McCartan. McCartan first hands on it. Gunston grabs it as it hits the deck. He's tackled. And a ball up 52 metres out from the Hawks' goal. Lopsided game of footy. 55 points is Sydney's lead. 11 minutes gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Throwing back in, Grundy slaps it down to the front. Nash is after it, Roberts as well, and it goes out of play for a boundary throw in. Mentioned Sully, Lance Franklin kicked 100 goals in 2008. Do you think we'll see another 100-goal kicker in any time soon?
It's hard to see it, isn't it? Given the way the game is played, defences getting back, numbers back behind the ball.
Need a coach to come in and really implement high-scoring games. Meek's hand pass picked off by Lloyd for the Swans. Quick 1-2 with Heaney. Jake Lloyd kicks up to Warner, 1-on-1. Inside 50, Scrimshaw gets back first. Chad Warner's after him, got him. Great defence by Scrimshaw, kept his composure. Gets a hand pass away to Hardwick, who retreats back to Mitchell. Hawthorn out of defence with a kick out wide and finds Carl Amon. He's at right half back out of the Olympic stand, but in no urgency to move it. The Hawthorn fans want him to take a risk. He does so through the middle of the ground to Weddle. With that famous number 23 of Lance Franklin on his back, he goes short to Hardwick, pulls his kick across half back. It's not a great ball. Sicily onto it on the bounce. Hand pass away to Weddle. Looks up towards left half forward, and Lloyd Meek hasn't moved.
He takes the mark, so he's 60 metres out. Left half forward, looks for Ginnivan, he's got it. Jack hugs it to his chest. Left half forward, he'll kick from about 45 out.
Bit of run and carry from the Hawks from half back. We haven't seen too much of that. Forces and creates movement forward of the ball. Weddle's so important in that chain.
Yeah, I like Weddle off half back. He's good and he creates something a bit different.
I think it's fair to say the understatement of the day is that Hawthorn need this. As Ginnivan moves in, his right-footed drop punt. He missed at the other end. He misses at the city end. And behind, he's had a couple of looks from set shots, Jack Ginnivan. Yet to kick one today. So Sydney by 9 goals neat. 13 gone, third term.
10 of their last 11 goals have gone the Sydney Swans' way. As Blakey kicks up the wing for the Swans. Seamus Mitchell, good mark over the top of Will Hayward. And he marks on the members' side. Turns and comes back inboard to Scrimshaw. Across centre half back. Kicks Hawthorn through the middle of the ground. Hardwick took a step and played on. He finds Newcomb just to the left of the centre circle. Short to Nash. Just takes the mark despite the challenge from McInerney. Back to Scrimshaw. Straight down the middle. Spots Dylan Moore on his own. Just inside 50.
Is he looking for the handball or a little kick inside here after his shot from 45 last time? Didn't quite make the journey at the other end. He'll have to lay this one up, I think.
So Lloyd Mead kicked Hawthorn's last goal in the second quarter. Dylan Moore puts it right to the teeth of goal. Weddle's there in the pack. It's spoiled away. Chasing after it, Heaney. McKenzie after him. McKenzie lays a good tackle. Forces him out of play to lock the ball inside 50. Left forward pocket for the Hawks. Sydney by 54 points. 13 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Champion Data credited him with a behind for that as well, which means it's his first miss of the year.
Really? It didn't even make a distance.
Yeah. So he's 12 goals won. 54 points is the lead for Sydney from the boundary throw. We're in the third quarter here. And they've got a lot of work to do, the Hawks. Sydney win it at the stoppage, though, as Roberts hand pass away to Lloyd, gives it to McInerney. Death kick, finds Jordan. Shacks a would-be tackle, then kicks along the boundary line. And mark taken against it by Hayward. He comes back inboard, finds Wicks.
When champion don't need to recheck that.
Yeah.
Because that went out of bounds. Didn't even go through the points.
Wicks looks inside the forward 50, leaping up McDonald, spills front and centre to Warner, and he can just stroll in. Bangs it up into the third deck. As easy as they come for Chad Warner. Front and centre. And the Swans lead extends to 10 goals. 15 gone in the third term. And the route is well and truly on. Sydney 13-7-85, Hawthorn 3-7-25. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Brad Saul and Brett Delidio.
That's a training drill sort of stuff.
Yeah.
From Sydney Hawks, Chad Warner peeling off Frost by the looks of it. Frost, there's no urgency, no intent to at least get his arm across Warner, get a bread and butter front and square goal lids.
And give a little money, sign rubbing fingers together after. He must be out of contract, is he?
That was how you made your name, getting those handballs over the back of the goal square, wasn't it?
He's signed till 2025, Chad Warner.
Hard to do that from half-backs.
Jerry from Tasmania off the SMS. It was the wrong decision for Buddy to go to Sydney, as he would have won 2 more premierships with the Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the middle. Taylor Adams tried to volley it forward. It ricochets off Newcomb. And a chance for Goulden to kick up towards half forward. McGuinness flies in front, can't complete the mark for Hawthorn. Hayward, hand pass to Sydney, to Heaney inside 50. Happily drops the mark. He's back onto it though. Amati tries to tap it to his advantage. Only about 10 metres out from goal. Seamus Mitchell comes racing back. And Morrison sees it out of play. Up against the left behind post. A throw in with Sydney deep in attack. A 60-point lead the Swans' way.
They're lucky there, the Hawks. That should have been another Sydney goal there.
Pretty hard, Sully, just to assume that if Buddy had stayed, everything would have stayed the same and all the factors involved. And
it doesn't quite work that way.
No.
It certainly doesn't. Trust me.
There's a whole lot that goes into that. From the boundary throw-in comes down to Morrison. He's wrapped up and a ball up in the forward pocket for the Swans. Great commentators. You're making my day, especially as my team is winning, from Elizabeth in Sydney. But my love of the AFL comes from growing up in Tasmania. Nice to have you with us, Elizabeth. From the restart here, it's back out of play, forward pocket for the Swans. Ron Nicholson on the SMS. The commentators at the AFL game may be interested to know that we believe a record has been set today by the Beaumaris Sharks Junior Football Club, with 6 players in the game coming through our junior program. From the Hawks, Gunston, Scrimshaw and McKenzie, and from the Swans, Florent, McLean and Amati.
All right, we'll get our stats checkers to work our way through that. The ABC Facts Checker, which is Corbin.
They've got a couple of beauties coming through from the 16s this year too, I know that.
Lloyd Meat wins down the tap. Warple's kick smothered. McLean around his body towards Amati. Can't take the mark. Logan McDonald on the boot for his 4th. I think he's got it. Make that 3 for Logan McDonald. He's kicked 1 in each of the quarters though, and he is doing his part in the Swans' 66-point lead. 14-7-91 to Hawthorn 3-7-25. 17 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport. What's that? 10, 11, 12 of the last 13 goals of the match have all gone Sydney's way.
Yeah. Quite a clever goal there by Gold, wasn't it?
It was. But the ease of which the goals are coming, Sully, is a bit concerning. No real pressure on it. Not being forced into trying to lower their eyes and actually find a target. It's just kick to a spot, create a contest, and we'll knock them through. Pretty good. Nice from McDonald, showing he can do it all different ways, not just lead up, mark, kick a goal, also getting on ground level.
What's he worth on the open market? 3-2 this afternoon.
For a key forward, which everyone seems to be looking for, you'd be asking for in excess of 800, I would have thought, somewhere around there.
I know a team with 3 first-round draft picks that might be interested. Fremantle Dockers. The restart.
The team they're playing needs one too, I think.
Yes. Mackenzie hand pass out in front of Hayward, and he's locked up. Of course, Mitch Lewis. They're hoping he's going to turn into that big man up front. This is a 4th week, so hasn't played since Easter Monday.
Needs a partner in crime.
Yeah. Tell you what, if there's one going, a key forward, there'll be a lot of clubs interested. Knocked down to Warner, kicks inside 50 over the head of Amati, and Frost takes the intercept mark. Night sky starting to set in. We don't have the twilight too long these days, with daylight saving out and winter well and truly around the corner. Floodlights on at the G in the 3rd quarter here at Sydney by 66 points. The Hawks a little messy off the half-back flank as Warple just tumbles a kick down the wing. Sits out in front of Connor McDonald. Hasn't had the same day as he had last week. Ball slides past him. McCartan close to the boundary line and inadvertently fumbles it out of play. Boundary throw in southern wing. It's a good effort, isn't it, by Morris Footy Club? So 6 AFL players on one ground. Who's your junior club, Lids?
I played a couple of different ones in Maryborough, the Wallabies, and then it was in Kyabram, I was at Haslam Street, and it's a school team.
Wallabies is not a bad name. Didn't hear enough of them. Throwing back in.
Troy Chapman playing come from there as well.
Spills the way of Chad Warner, kicks in the middle of the ground. Logan McDonald was dragged down. He had a fair piece of the footy anyway. It centre wing on the members' side. Gets the hand pass around the back to Hayward. Drives it inside 50. Papley's there or in from the side. The mark is taken by James Jordan. They'll line up directly in front from 40 metres out. He doesn't have a goal yet, so 10 individual goal kickers so far for the Sydney Swans. They're sharing them around.
Corby, what's your most memorable Buddy Franklin highlight?
I feel like this is going to be the question at sort of the family gathering when you run out of things to talk about.
I'm an Essendon fan, so I've tried to eliminate as many of them out of my memory as possible.
He bullied the Bombers, didn't he, for a number of years.
The hurdle in the middle of the ground was pretty cool.
Special. Yeah.
James Jordan looking for his first of the afternoon from 45 metres out. He comes in and adds another one to the Sydney tally. Closing in on the 100 before three-quarter time. 15-7 97 to Hawthorn 3-7-25. And the pain continues for the Hawks. 5 goals to none so far in this 3rd quarter.
From memory, it was Bruce's call of the hurdle as well, I think, that really
elevated it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, some gravitas.
Yeah.
Give me your junior club. Who'd you...
Newland Football Club.
Newland. What was the mascot?
Cats.
Cats, a bit boring. So the Cats and the Sharks. The Wallabies, I don't mind. Who was your team, Clinchy?
Canterbury Cobras.
The Cobras?
The Cobras, yeah.
I don't mind that. I played for the Bibra Lake Bandicoots.
Oh, Bandicoots.
The Bandicoots is not the most fearsome name.
No, it's not. What was your team song? Give us a few bars of that.
We are the Bibra Footy Club. We are the team to beat.
No, you didn't sound like that.
The opposition fears us because we create the heat. Attack is strong, defence is best. We are the greatest in the West.
Oh, wow.
It didn't finish well. It didn't have a nice sort of punchy line to finish with. Back in the middle, Mackenzie. You can tell the margin 72 points by the way.
An indication of where the game's at.
Hawthorn have kicked 1 goal since quarter time. They are getting absolutely boat raced here at the MCG. It is Sydney by 72.
1 goal since quarter time.
1 goal. 1 goal, in fact, since the 14-minute mark of the opening quarter. And it's all Sydney. They go forward again out of the middle here. Tumble a kick towards centre half forward. Frost has it. His hand pass, though, swatted down. Papley sweating on it. Frost goes back, collects. Hand pass along the ground. They come from all directions to compete inside the Swans forward 50. Amon's tangled, lost it. Ball comes out towards Hayward. His hand pass reaches McInerney. Handball back to Rowbottom. They're queuing up again. His hand pass picked off. And Walple's going to kick it wide for Hawthorn out towards Moore. Punched away by Cunningham. Pack forms, high half forward for the Swans. Umpire says, I'll have it. And a ball up, 5 minutes to go in the 3rd term. So we're at the 22-minute mark, and it is Sydney by 72 points.
9-4 to 1-4 since quarter time. The way of the Sydney Swans. Will Day across half-back, looks up the wing. Marviel Chol takes the mark. And a bit of the Bronx cheers coming from the Hawthorn fans. He hasn't had a lot of the footy this afternoon. Possession number 6 coming up as he works it around the boundary line to Carl Amon. Between wing and half forward on the members' side. Weddle's gone forward. He pulls the kick looking for Will Day. Coming in from the other direction was Roberts. Makes the spoil. Goulden hand passes it straight to Warple from 45. His shot is offline. And misses to the left-hand side. Search continues for the Hawks for a goal since the second quarter. The margin is 71 points at the 23-minute mark of the third quarter on ABC Sport.
Jess Webster on the boundary. Jess, junior footy team?
Yeah, I think I've got you guys covered. Footy didn't exist for girls when I was younger. My brothers did play for Zimmer Eagles back in Brisbane, but my dad comes from the Nana Goon Football Club in Gippsland, nicknamed the Goon.
The Goon. I don't mind that, Nana Goon. Shout out to everyone out at the Goon who are listening. As the Swans working up towards half forward in a flash, so that's from a score from the Hawks, and all of a sudden 2 kicks later it's 70 metres out from the Swans goal with Tom Papley. As Papley just lays it up inside the forward 50. Sydney by 71 in the third term. No mark for McLean and McDonald, and it hits the deck. Gunston, hand pass away to Morrison. Clears the defensive 50, but only momentarily. Papley, hand pass back towards the attacking arc. Over the top of it is McInerney. Umpire circles, and in the end, the ball comes out. McGuinness hands it to Scrimshaw. Kicks down the wing, and Blakey keeps it in the front half for the Swans. Numbers in the corridor. Errol Roberts takes the mark, comes wide, and here he is. Errol Goulden, their emerging superstar who marks at left half forward, about 48 out for Sydney.
Hearing that Nana Goon just reminds me of that halftime little bit that used to come on when it'd show you all the scores from out throughout. It must be a country thing throughout all the leagues. See, Nana Goon, I've never heard of that place before. They'd always win too, I reckon.
Errol Goulden, a 4-year deal through to 2028. Said he was offered 10 years by one club. He's a man in demand. Goulden is going to shoot goalward, but he misses to the near side of behind. 25 minutes gone in the third. Swans back out by 72, which is a game high. And the Hawks, by the way, are 25 minutes into the third term. They've kicked 1 goal since the 14-minute mark of the opening quarter. They are big time on the struggle bus. It's been another tough afternoon for Sam Mitchell and his team.
James Sicily, the Hawthorn captain, brings them back into play. Kicks towards half-back where he finds Connor Nash. How would you imagine Sully Mitch would be handling the frustrations of a side which is not developing as quickly as he would hope?
Well, you can sort of see the tension and frustration building over the last couple of weeks for Mitch.
All the way back to the right-back pocket where Jack Gunston, working in defence, takes the mark. He works it up to Carl Lamont. One of the Olympic stand at right half-back. Turns and comes inboard to Gunston. Has free options in the middle of the ground. Jack Scrimshaw has won. Sydney by 72 points. He kicks looking for Werpel. It's over his head. Good clean pick-up by Will Day. Dodges around Fox. Swings onto his right-hand side. Looks inside 50. Marmion Chol the target. What a pass. And for Hawthorn fans, it's been a frustrating day. But they would have loved watching that pass from Will Day. The future on display there.
Yeah, a bit of class there, wasn't there? The clean pick-up below his knees. And the ability to get out of traffic, sum it all up. And just have the penetration on his kick too to just get over the top. They'll set up pretty well, Sydney, but Marbiel Chol just sneaking out the back.
Not sure Big Marbiel had to move too far. So good was the kick, and John Longmire wasn't all that impressed with his defenders. Marbiel Chol looking for Hawthorn's second goal since quarter time. Their 4th goal of the match from only about 15 metres out. Chol comes in and pops it through. Finally, something to cheer about for Hawthorn fans. 26 minutes gone in the third quarter. Their last goal came through Lloyd Meek at the 14-minute mark of the second quarter. The margin is 66 points Sydney's way. 15-8-98 to Hawthorn 4-8-32.
Yeah, really bit of class in this Hawthorn side. Will Day makes a huge difference. And he's come back in without looking like he's really missed too much of a beat.
He's been good in and around the footy when he's been near it. I reckon that second quarter he might back again. I don't think he touched it for the whole quarter. It's been a long time on the bench too. I was worried that he might have hurt himself again. But good to see him back out there. It'll just do him the world of good. The more minutes he can get in, the better this team will end up being as well.
Big Nabs, 44 goals back in 2022. He fell out of favour up at the Suns with Ben King returning, and now finds himself at a third team with the Hawks. Out of the middle, on the back of that last goal. Centre clearance here for Newcomb. Kicks out wide to Chol. He's got it. Little spin move, burns off a couple. Kicks it goalward on the line. A diving effort. I'm not sure he got there in the end. Fox, in the end, he wasn't required. One bounce into the goalpost. And a behind for Chol. 15-8 to 4-9. 65 points is Sydney's lead. 28 gone in the third quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Matt Clinch.
Ollie Florin brings Sydney back into play. Almost ran into a dead end in Weddle. Kicks up towards Brodie Grundy. But it's Lloyd Meek who rises over the top and takes the mark. Left half forward. Pokes a kick to Connor Nash. He's at the edge of the centre square. The Irishman looks long. Marbiel Chole's in a little hot street. Puts it out in front of him. And Melican! Chole goes to the big fly. He landed right on the middle of his back. And I think has given away the free kick.
Yeah.
Was it a free kick there?
It was. If you don't touch it, you impede the bloke in front of you. It's always a free kick. Good jump, though.
It wasn't a bad effort. Melican plays on quickly. Out to Harry Cunningham at right half in the right back pocket. He kicks up to Rowbottom. The Swans have it at half back, leading by 65 points. 28 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
There's Rowbottom. Kicks beyond the wing. Hawthorn. Scrimshaw puts his fist through it. One of the safety, the boundary line won't get it. Papley keeps it alive. Siren goes. And the third quarter is done. It's another quarter in which Hawthorn kicked us the one goal. It's the last of the game. And Sydney pull further in front. They led by 25 at quarter time, 42 at the half. And now 65 points. The Swans up at three-quarter time. 15-8, 98 over Hawthorn, 4-9, 33. The goal kickers to three-quarter time. Logan McDonald has 3. 1 in each quarter. 2 for Isaac Heaney, who's been good again, the Brownlow favourite. 2 for Wicks. And then singles down the page. There's a long list of them. Warner, Adams, Hayward, Papley, Florin, Jordan, Goulden and Amati. All with 1 each for the Swans. Meanwhile for Hawthorn, 1 goal to Moore, Hardwick, Meek and Chole. At three-quarter time, it is Sydney way in front. They lead by 65 points. A little sample off the SMS. I mentioned Elizabeth, didn't I, in Sydney, who's enjoying the game, grew up in Tasmania. Enjoying the call, thanks, guys. I think Lance had far more impact at the Swans. You're calling a game now, in fact, with many of the kids that he mentored. The joy on that man's face when a young teammate would kick a goal was never matched for mine. He was always the first one into the hug after a goal from Mike in Kyneton. Thanks, Mike. Nice to hear from you. Sorry, fellas, what is all the fuss about with Buddy Franklin? Took him over 350 matches to kick 1,000 goals. Means he's not even close to Ablett Senior, who's the greatest player of all time. Just quickly, who do you think's better, Ablett or Franklin? I mean, by that premise, a very different game. It's like saying Jake Saligo gets more of the ball than Dick Reynolds. Not only anyone's saying he's a greater player than the 3-time Brownlow medalist. You've got to compare him within eras, we know that. Brendan from Hobart, Buddy's 13 goals in Tassie.
Yes.
You there that day?
Buddy's 13.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good day.
Oh, I imagine. That's a Buddy moment for the ages, no doubt. More of your thoughts coming up on the SMS and more of the thoughts too of Brad Saul and Brett Delidio. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, this is Becky Cole inviting you to join me each week for Saturday Night Country. For more than 30 years, we've been playing the best in Australian country music, as well as the overseas artists that you know and love. So whether it's the classic tunes that you grew up with, the best new releases, or the interviews of your favourite acts, you'll find it all on Saturday Night Country. Saturday Night Country. Hear it anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Under pressure, Frost tackle brought down, holding the ball. Will Hayward got him. Footy in the hands of Will Hayward. Who's lining up from about 45 metres out. Comes in and slots it. Another one for the Sydney Swans.
Comes down towards Rowbottom. Hand pass, threads it through to Heaney, who finishes on the run. Just grabbed it, turns, knew where the goals were. Low trajectory, drop punt and sails through for his second. And all of a sudden it's beyond 50. Wicks looks inside the forward 50, leaping up McDonald, spills front and centre to Warner. And he can just stroll in, bends it up into the third deck. As easy as they come for Chad Warner, and the Swans lead extends to 10 goals.
McLean around his body towards a Marty, can't take the mark. Logan McDonald on the boot, I think he's got it. Make that 3 for Logan McDonald. Fox swings onto his right-hand side, looks inside 50. Marbiel Chole the target, what a pass. And for Hawthorn fans, it's been a frustrating day, but they would have loved watching that pass from Will Day. The future on display there. From only about 15 metres out, Chole comes in and pops it through. Finally, something to cheer about for Hawthorn fans.
the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Cash in the studio tells me that Willetton Junior Football Club was his junior team, home of the Navy Blues. And Navy Blues a bit boring. What we're looking for bandicoots and wallabies and cobras.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
And goons. But home of also Jason Johannesson and Chad Warner. So thanks for that. The Willetton Junior Football Club. Shane in Coffs Harbour, thanks for keeping the game interesting. As a Swans fan in Coffs Harbour, I'm out of the footy cycle. Is Sam Mitchell under pressure? He's coached until at least the end of 2025. His side is down by 65 points. The thoughts of Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio on ABC Sport.
Is that the question?
Yep.
That you want us to answer? Is Sam Mitchell under pressure?
Yeah.
Well, today he is. Absolutely. But I think they're going to back in Sam to ride further. I think they understand where their list is at currently. That there's going to be a little bit of pain there, but you can't just expect to be, competing for the top 4, top 8, even with where their list is currently at. They've come off it's been a couple of years now, though, since their last finals appearance. Sully, what was it, 2018, I reckon? They made the semi-finals.
Went out in straight sets.
After top 4 that year. So it's been a little while, but yeah, sometimes with different ways you want to go about it in terms of bringing new people into your club, and whether you go to the draft or whether you trade in, a couple of those decisions will still prove to see where they're all at with all of that. But I think it's just going to take time, and I think Sam's probably going to be the man that they're going to back in.
So there's going to be tough days, Sawley, right, during this stretch. You're clearly in development mode. Despite that, what are some of the things that have disappointed you today? When you're a Hawthorn person, you come watch the game and they've kicked 4 goals to three-quarter time.
I think the concern isn't so much the win-loss ratio for Mitch. It's going to be how they lose the games. And performances like today, in terms of having kicked 4 goals three-quarters, and the ease with which Sydney at times have been able to move the ball, and the ease with which they've been able to score. Sydney are a good side too. Let's not kid ourselves there. But it's been far too easy for the Swans today.
Yep.
Hawthorn haven't been able to make things hard, or haven't been able to make things a challenge for Sydney. And so that's going to be the concern for Mitch, and I'd imagine that'll be where the outside commentary comes from.
Thoughts of 2-time Premiership Hawk Brad Sewell with us on ABC Sport. Final quarter is upon us. Sydney by 65 as we start this last quarter. Heaney gets a hand pass away to Gordon on the wing, high up and under, across the ground. Hands on it from Florent, no mark, spills down to Warple, bangs it forward, and Blakey's back. Marks at centre-half back. So we got 1 quarter to come in round 7, which has been a long one. It's lasted 5 days. 4 games played at the MCG during that stretch. And then, of course, the new round starts on Thursday night, round 8. It is a bit of a pseudo-rivalry round. So we've got a showdown, a Q Clash, Sydney Derby. We've got the jacket match over in Perth, the Eagles and the Bombers, and then Carlton Collingwood. Just about as big as it gets for rivalries in the game Friday night as Adams gets a short kick, trying to lace it through to Warner. Unsuccessful. The Hawks win it back. Weddle gets a hand pass out wide to Hardwick. He goes long in the Chol direction. He's up. I thought he was marking. He's not. He's going to get the play on with the footy, though. Dabs it inside 50, and Ginnivan marks.
Great recovery there from Marby or Chol. Up for the mark. Quite arguably could have been paid that, or a free kick for chopping the arms. Good recovery to bounce back. He's always been able to do that, Big Marbs. And a nice little touch kick into Jack Ginnivan. It's been a hard day for a forward if you're a Hawks player. Haven't seen a whole lot of it down your end.
Tough day for Guinea. He's had 2 looks at it from set shots, relatively straightforward ones, and sprayed them both. One at the punt road end, one at the city end. He's back at the punt road end here. It's a circus trick from out on the boundary line, and he pushes it across the face for his 3rd behind. I thought if he's ever likely to kick one, he's more likely to kick that from out there than he is the 2 from dead in front. And behind.
They're giving him 1 more on the scoreboard. He's down for 4 behinds. For Jack Ginnivan. As the Swans bring the ball back into play, Harold Gordon takes the mark in the right back pocket, kicks up towards McLean. Frost's in front, so McLean has to spoil. Frosty's back onto it. Hand pass to McGuinness. Almost run down by Rowbottom. He's pushed in the back and will get the free kick. The Finn in the middle of the MCG. Hasn't really had a tagging job this afternoon. As he looks inside 50, drives the ball in the direction of Ramsden and Marviel. Chol, who comes in from the side, can't take the mark. He's tackled by Melican. It spills out. McCartan with the half pass to Florin, around the body, kicks to half back. Warple waiting for it, pokes the kick inside 50 and finds Jai Newcomb pretty much directly in front, 40 metres out from goal. A chance of Hawthorn to boot their 5th goal of the match.
Please read that out, Gorb.
In response to the text about Buddy moving to Sydney, it sent the Hawks to the trade table for players of significantly less calibre. Landed me at the Hawks for 2 flags. Good on you, Bud. Great move. Enjoying the call on the tractor in the Wimmera. Signed Ben McAvoy. Yes,
big boy.
Cheerio to the Premiership Hawk, the Hawks captain. You never know who's listening, Lids. As here's Jai Newcomb, who comes in and slams it through from 45 metres out and boots the opening goal of the final term. So something for Hawthorn to try and build on. 15-8-98 to Hawthorn, 5-10-40. 3 minutes gone, final term on the SMS 0437 774 774. Great to hear from Hawthorn captain Ben McAvoy.
Yeah, how good's that? Yeah, thanks, big fella. The soul of the earth human, big Benny McAvoy, that's for sure.
He's a ripper.
Well done, Cam McKenzie. Great little spot up. Good for Jai Newcomb to just drop into a little hole and finish the work. Goals have been hard to come by. You can get yourself on the scoreboard. Good finish.
Also off the SMS, Ken in Sandringham. I'm listening to ABC Sport online. The Swans Hawks game's a blowout, so I went to the rugby league as ABC Sport gives me that option on the same device. So I thought the Sharks and the Raiders game would be close. Tune in. Sharks 40, Raiders 0. Back to the AFL. Thanks, Ken. And appreciate your listenership. You can do it. That's almost like a great little plug for the ABC Listen app as well, but certainly wasn't set up. 4 minutes into the final term. Quick break for the Hawks from Newcomb, but McCartan takes the intercept mark at half back. Sydney by 58, having led by as many as 72. As the kick goes down the wing to Grundy. Good mark, looks inboard, trying to find Logan McDonald. No mark, broken up more. Got it out to Sicily, hand pass to Newcomb, handball over his shoulder. Sets Nash free in the middle of the G, hand pass to Moore. Handball to Eamon, swings it through to Warple, fend off, no down. Chase down tackle, superb. Swans win it back. And Will Hayward just had his eyes on the ball carrier, went and got him. Wins it back for Sydney in the middle of the ground. The Swans by 58 start of the final term.
Hayward looks for Ollie Florin. He marks at the edge of the centre square on the wing member side. He can chip it wide up to Jake Lloyd. Lloyd wants to work it over the top and Papley on a long lead. And still 2 kicks out from goal at the city end of the MCG. To goal in the first quarter, Tom Papley. He's had a relatively quiet afternoon. He puts it in the direction of the key forwards. Heaney flies from the back. Logan McDonald stay down. Little toe poke towards Grundy. Grundy gathers. Hand pass to Heaney on the right boot. Isaac Heaney with his 3rd. Might be another 3 votes coming his way as well. He catches the eye with 20 disposals and 3 goals. He can do it all, Isaac Heaney. And Sydney answer back to restore a 64-point advantage. 16-8, 104 to Hawthorn, 5-10-40. 5 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Being on the tractor now with big boy McAvoy sounds okay. Send us in your most memorable Buddy Franklin moment, big boy.
We get run through it.
What do you say about our company?
We love your company.
It's fantastic what we're watching, isn't it?
We're talking about the game here. Isaac Heaney just going strength for strength. His ability to... He was a target for that inside 50, launched at it, nearly got his hands around it, but then to follow up, just clever little tap on from McDonald, and then they picked up, and surprise, surprise, Heaney's in the right spot again.
Riley, what happened to the Sunday blockbuster games? We've had 4 or 5 Poxy Sundays in a row. There's no 3:20 slot, which is 3:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time is the free-to-air network, obviously Channel 7, their nationally televised game, so lots of Thursday nights and random other slots earlier in the year with Gather Round and Easter Monday and Anzac Day and the rest of it. So we'll get some of those blockbuster Sundays as we get a little further into the season and the winter hits. And the Swans with the footy on that southern wing. Short kicking game as Cunningham goes to McInerney. Swans by 64 points. As he's looking across the ground, finds Roberts. Sydney Derby next week. So far, so good. Clean bill of health. Braden Campbell, the unused sub. John Longmire will be hoping they can get through this unscathed as McCartan marks on the wing, goes short. Looking for Rowbottom. Sicily breaks it up. Ball hits the deck. Moore feeds a hand pass forward to Sicily. Rides the contact, lost the footing. Free kick. He's then held without it. And Sicily's going to get the footy on the wing. It's going against Roberts. He's tackled Sicily after he got rid of the ball. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Jess Webster on the boundary. Brad Saul, Brett Delidio. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Gives it to Scrimshaw, to Morrison. Short kick to Moore. And marks at left half forward for the Hawks. He wants to dab it short. And finds the three-time premiership veteran, Jack Gunston, left half forward.
He's kept trying. Dylan Moore all day.
It's been good, hasn't he?
Yeah, he just keeps dropping in the holes. He'll work up to the back of the stoppage and then run his backside off back towards goal. Good little link player for him. Nice touch kick to Jack Gunston there. He needs this one, Jack.
A tough day for him as well as Gunston moves in and he's hit it left. Missed to the near side, so that's 2 behinds for him today. Sydney by 63 points, 8 gone final term.
2 goals, 7 for Jack Gunston this season, and he's returned to the Hawthorn side from the Brisbane Lions. The clearing kick is marked by Sicily. A chance to go inside 50 once more. And Dylan Moore on cue takes the mark. He centres it to Connor McDonald. On a much kinder angle, slightly left of centre, and only about 40 metres out from goal.
Rinse and repeat there from Dylan Moore. Wasn't it dropping into another little hole? And then being able to turn around and quickly fire one off to Connor McDonald. He's found it a lot harder this week. Connor McDonald, I think he had 20 to the half last week against North Melbourne. Only the 9 so far, halfway through the last.
24 disposals last week for Connor McDonald. He comes in, hangs it out to the right. It won't come back enough. And a couple of behinds to Hawthorn in succession. 62 points is the Sydney lead at the 9-minute mark of the fourth term on ABC Sport.
Quick transition here. There's the long kick out towards Patley on the wing. Can't trap it. Hardwick manages to compete for the footy with Cunningham. Bangs bodies with him, and yet Cunningham knocks the ball forward. Patley, hand pass to Gordon. Handball away to Florent. Goes back to Lloyd. Hand pass away to Cunningham. This kicks off a single step inside the forward arc for the Swans. They all leap up for it. No mark. Ball hits the ground. Amon collects. Goes back by hand to Weddle. The only teenager out there. Chips it. The defensive goal square for Morrison, and he's looking to switch play to Connor McDonald, who'll mark it left half back. Sydney by 62 points, 10 gone final turn. Short kick to Moore. Moore swings it down the wing, wanting Gunston, and Fox floats across in front, knocks it out of play in front of the benches. So a boundary throw in here, broadcast side. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, 10 minutes into the last. Swans by 62. Luigi in Baldwin says Matt Rao was also a junior footballer at the mighty Canterbury Cobras. John from WA, my junior team was the Rossmoyne Sea Urchins. Oh, Sea Urchins. I'm not sure about that as a mascot name for the team from Rossmoyne. Stephen, who's a Swans fan, says Franklin will be remembered fondly in Sydney for a lot of good work, but they looked a better sight without him the last couple of years. And we're seeing the Swans forward line function today.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Sydney has made it sub, so Brandon Campbell comes into the action, and they've subbed out Justin McInerney, who's having a rest for the rest of this quarter.
Thanks, Jess. Jack Ginnivan kicked up towards the 50. Ramsden couldn't take the mark for Hawthorn. Chad Warner across half-back. Kicks up the wing. Wicks takes the mark. Kick missed Heaney. Intended more for Hayward, and Josh Weddle's able to slide in and take the mark for the Hawks. The intercepting mark across half-back. Finds Scrimshaw, wants to play on. Swings on his left. Not a great kick for Sicily. Wicks flies, brings it down. He was taken over the shoulder, though, James Sicily. Right as Errol Goulden was about to reload inside 50. So Hawthorn fortunate there as Sicily goes short to Scrimshaw. Looks out to Marviel Chol. Melican in from the side. Makes the spoil. Just a little bit too slow in the kick, which hung in the air. And an easy spoil in the end for the Sydney defence. Swans by 62 points. 16-8, 104 to Hawthorn 5-12-42. 11 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
And he's a St Kilda supporter, says, I was so sorry to lose Ben McAvoy, especially the awful way that the club told him. I was very happy for him and that it turned out well for him at Hawthorn. A two-time premiership player from the stoppage. The Hawks go forward. McDonald, hand pass to Newcombe, kicks along top of the goal square. Gunston pushed out of the way by McCartan. And Melican cleans it up between the goal face. Goes short to Lloyd in the back pocket, and Lloyd just chips it short to Florent.
Big boy written back yet?
He hasn't yet. We've asked him for his favourite club moment, but Ben McAvoy
driving his tractor. It's dangerous.
How hard could it be?
Tractor on the Wimmera. Hopefully he can tell us his favourite
GPS these days.
Lance Franklin moments. Obviously they would have been ships in the night, so would have been in opposition colours.
Lucky for a big boy too. He would have played on him, probably practice matches as a back at some stage.
All right, Swans with it in the middle of the ground. Goulden kicks out towards the southern boundary line, dropping back in the hole, trying to break it up. He's Hardwick, and he does so. Roberts hits the deck. Hardwick grabs the footy, goes darting away. Chips a kick down to half forward. Moore collects 52 metres out, pulls it back inboard. Connor McDonald got it on the bounce. Hand pass goes back to Amon, looking to snap goalward. Kick smothered. Ricochets up in the air. Ginnivan overruns it, and Florent hand pass away to centre half back for the Swans.
Oh, the hand pass to Wicks was to the back of Chad Warner. It spills out. Jordan's under pressure. Tackled. Got it away at the last moment to Fawkes. Hand pass to Taylor Adams. Sydney in the defensive 50. Hand pass to Cunningham. Looks out to left half back. Roberts takes the mark. He's cannoned into by Hardwick late. Hardwick gives him a shove as well, and it will be 50 for Blake Hardwick for his late contact.
No free-to-air on Sunday, so we're very happy listening to our ABC from Helen in Geelong. Thanks, Helen.
Is that Riley who made the message? I had a quick look. So round 10 is the next 3:20 start. Port Adelaide and Melbourne. Port Adelaide and Hawthorn, round 10, I should say. So this is one of the changes which the new CEO has brought in. The kick for Sydney inside 50 towards Logan McDonald. Spoiled out of play on a boundary throw. And the reason is to try and stop the overlap between the 3 games on a Sunday. Previously it used to lead into the news on the commercial channels, but now it's trying to get as many eyeballs on the game as possible.
So more Thursday nights mean less Sunday afternoon footy, so give something to get something. And then your free-to-air games. The boundary throw-in comes down to Patley. He's tackled, holding the ball. Patley tried to fight through it, said the umpire. Turned and ran to his right, ran straight into Newcombe. That was a dead end. John in West Footscray off the SMS. I believe that the Hawks will win against the Western Bulldogs at Docklands.
Oh, we've got that game, haven't we?
Yes. I think it's this time next week after the Dogs lost to the Dockers. I watched that last night and I'm confident that this from Hawthorn is worse than what we saw from the Dogs yesterday. So I'm not sure that's on form from John in West Footscray as the kick from McLean comes out wide and the Swans with it through Jordan between wing and half forward. Sydney by 62 midway through the final term.
Jordan inside 50 towards Amadi. It's spoiled away by Sicily. Frost's hand pass is chopped off by Heaney. What a great vertical leap to spoil out a play in the right forward pocket. I've got a question for Brad Sewell or for Brett D'Elia. This is probably your prime opportunity. 0437 774 774. The 14-minute mark of the final term. We can take some of your questions. It's fair to say the match hasn't quite reached the heights in which we hoped it might have. 62 points Sydney's lead. We haven't had a triple figure result so far this season. It's Hawthorn trying to fight back in this final term. Carl Amon with the hand pass to Nash. Hand pass away to McGuinness. Kicks up towards the wing. Jack Ginnivan tries to slip away from Florent. Clever work by Tom McCart. Threw a boot at it. Volleyed it to half forward. Heaney runs onto it. The pass crash. Gets the hand pass away to Taylor Adams. Kicks across the face of goal. Amadi slipped in behind and Scrimshaw was able to hold his position in front and take the mark for the Hawks. 10 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end as he gives it to Nash and back to Scrimshaw.
76 is the widest margin so far this year in any game. That was the West Coast Eagles loss to the Bulldogs. There's a free kick here. McLean was illegally shepherded out of it by Ramsden, so Swans are getting it back on the wing. Looks inboard, turns it over. Newcombe with the
God, what's happened here?
Should we just call it?
Yeah, I think it just should.
Just come together and shake hands and we'll all go home. But 15 and a half minutes into the final term. It's turnover city. You can't string 2 or 3 possessions together either team at the moment as Lloyd goes short to Florent. Sydney lead the game by 62. And 16 minutes into the final term as Florent dabs it short to Goulden. And he's got a congested forward 50. Just kicks it to the hot spot. They come from all directions. Slips off hands. Amadi can't trap it. Scrimshaw knocks it to Sicily. Just kicks a high bomb out to half back for Hawthorn.
Up towards Ginnivan. Can't take the mark against Florent. It spills out the way of Jordan for Sydney. Hand pass to Campbell, the sub. Links up with Florent against the boundary. Pokes a kick inside 50. Wicks slipped over. And a good mark taken in the end by Jack Scrimshaw. Lost his footing at the last moment, but was able to hang on to the mark. Left back pocket for the Hawks. Sydney by 62 points.
Some of the sternest chats I had were from Dimmer when we were up by a lot at three-quarter time because he was like, don't you dare take the foot off the throat.
Yeah, Clarko was the same.
I feel like it's a bit of preservation mode here from the Swans boys.
Scrimshaw to Amon, who kicks long around the wing. Hayden McLean can't complete the mark as Lloyd Meek spoils it out of play and a boundary throw in. Will Buddy stay to the end, Sully, do you reckon?
God, I hope not.
Lance Franklin spoke to his good mate Jordan Lewis at half-time on the boundary line. Shook a few hands, kissed a few babies. Presented with a frame of number 23 jumpers, both a Sydney and a Hawthorn one at the President's Lunch, and chatted to the Hawthorn members, thanked them for all their support. Of course, the two-time premiership star and surefire Hall of Famer Lance Franklin. Hawthorn through the half-back line. 62-point lead for the Swans, 17.5 gone final term.
Does anyone remember the young lad who gave up the jumper at Sydney? What his name was? Who was it?
It was Jordan Lockyer, who ended up playing senior footy for Subiaco in the WAFL.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But I think he got remunerated too, didn't he?
Did he?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it was just, mate, I wouldn't mind number 23. I think it was, look, you can have number 23 and he'll also be rewarded as the Hawks move it down towards half forward. He's tackled by Blakey holding the ball. Swans win it at half-back. We've got 6 minutes to go. I hope you can stay with us. 0437 774 774 the SMS. Sydney by 62 points. 18 minutes gone final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I thought you had him, Lids. I thought that was a really good question. What was his name again?
Jordan Lockyer.
Okay, so Jordan, if you're listening, 0437 774 774.
Your favourite buddy moment, mate. We want your favourite buddy moment.
I was going to say Brett Delidio would have found a way to cut a deal. Something Michael Jordan style, sort of each year in which he plays. As Campbell kicks out to the outer wing, where the mark is taken by Tom McCartan. Sydney by 62 points. As he kicks laterally out to Cunningham. Good to see him back after that heavy collision with Peter Wright back in the early rounds of the season. Works it out wide to Jack Lloyd. Centre wing, Hawthorn have everyone inside their defensive half, so not an easy pass to find as Cunningham goes short and Florent takes the mark. Florent wheels onto his right-hand side, kicks it long in the direction of McDonald and Amati. Amati flew, brought it down, McDonald's the rover, gets the half pass to Hayward, kicks end over end into the open goal. Will Hayward with his second. And the Swans stretch it out once more. 68 points the margin at the 19-minute mark of the final term. 17-8, 110 to Hawthorn, 5-12-42 on ABC Sport with Brad Saul and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, I think Mitch won't be happy with that again. We've said it a number of times today, Sully, haven't we? Their inability to kill the long ball coming in. They've got numbers everywhere, but not enough pressure on the footy, unfortunately. Great little finish from Will Hayward. He's a clever player in and around goal when he gets his opportunity.
I got some good team names at least off the SMS. Andy says the Coolaman Grasshoppers.
Yep.
Go the Hoppers.
Same as Murchison, I reckon. They're the Grasshoppers.
John in South West Queensland footy team named the Mighty Meat Ants.
Oh, okay. They sound gnarly.
From John, the Mighty Meat Ants. One from the footy, no name, no pack drill, but the South Cairns team are named the Cane Cutters. The South Cairns Cane Cutters. You wouldn't be able to say that very fast. As Warner, he is very fast with ball in hand. Hand pass away to Campbell, who's been cooling his heels most of the day. Kicks goalward to the unguarded goal square, but misses. Behind the Cane Cutters. I don't mind that. Sydney by 69 points, 21 gone final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. With Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Jess Webster on the boundary, Brad Saul and Brett Delidio.
Scrimshaw down the middle. Seamus Mitchell trying to make it work. Almost spoiled away by Cunningham. Chad Warner wrestles after the footy. Weddle gets there first for Hawthorn. Now pass away to Impey. At right half back. Gives it to Hardwick. He takes a bounce. Trying to find an option. He tries to pierce a kick around the wing. McKenzie slides in. Can't get a hand pass away from Wicks, who knocks it out of play. And a boundary throw in. Centre wing on the Shane Warne stand side. Sydney by 69 points. 17-9, 111 for the Swans. That's not their highest score, though, so far for the season. Posted 131 back in round 2 against the Bombers. There's a chance for them to move to second on the AFL ladder, though. Behind the Cats, who are unbeaten, and just ahead of the Giants. Connor Nash tries to get a clearing kick for the Hawks. It's picked off, though, by Campbell. Braden Campbell, the sub, comes into the middle of the ground for Sydney, and Ollie Florent takes the mark.
Florent kicks out wide, trying to link up with Fox, does so successfully. Gee, that's a good game next Saturday afternoon. So Sydney Derby, Sydney Swans, GWS Giants. It's obviously big as a crosstown rivalry, but consequential in the league more broadly.
100%. Toby back.
Oh, yeah. We had Adam Kingsley on AFL Saturday yesterday. He told us Sam Taylor ready to return.
Good.
And Steve Canilia.
And Cogs as well.
Yeah.
That.
So they could get all three of them back.
Juicy.
The Swans here work it from one half forward flank to the other. It's now with Roberts, still 70 metres out. Now the inside 50 kick. Scrimshaw drops the mark, hits the deck. Hayward collects, big fend off, trying to kick one over his shoulder. Doesn't get there. And Morrison marks in front of the behind line. So that's Saturday afternoon at the SCG standalone slot. Swans Giants. Looking forward to it, the latest edition of the Battle of the Bridge, the Sydney Derby. Sydney by 69 points here. 23 gone. Final term, Sunday footy, ABC Sport.
Connor McDonald in the left back pocket, kicks the Hawks up towards the wing. Flying in the pack was Dylan Moore, but Nick Blakey takes the mark. Off a step, looks for Logan McDonald at centre half forward. What a pass. And he marks right on 50. Chance to try and kick his fourth of the afternoon, having kicked one in each quarter. What tickled your fancy?
Jordan Lockie has texted in.
Hello, Jordan.
First time listener, long time caller. Great call.
This is great.
Brett and Brad was happy to give up number 23 for Buddy. What a rock star. And very generous. Spent it on Bitcoin. Couldn't be happier.
Oh, that's made my day. Logan McDonald from directly in front. Shooting from 55 metres out. Sets fly. It's right to the goal line. I think it's close. We're going to go upstairs. Hayden McLean was trying to shepherd it on the line. Josh Weddle thinks he got a hand to it. We are in the hands of the Ark.
First of the day.
First of the day. They've implemented a new strategy now that they just call them a goal and review them when they go back. But this looks like it was right on the goal line. And a very quick score review as well. How do you like that? Touched behind. Hawks move to 5-12-42.
Whole of the ball has to be over, Clinchy.
Yep, Sydney 17-9-111. The margin is 69 points. Crowd posted at 38,052 for Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Good roll up across the few days that we've had footy here. So 4 games, big crowds obviously. Melbourne, Richmond into 93,000 for Anzac Day. There was 87,000 last night for Carlton and Geelong, and now 38,000 here. So big weekend so far. Sydney have won it back on the wing as Campbell looks inside the forward 50 and finds McLean.
Just watching James Sicily, he just got absolutely smashed on the kick out and then went for the intercept on the incoming ball and got pushed over again. He's given the ground an absolute thump. Not happy. Sis has the ability to blow his cool every now and again.
The footy hasn't been a great contest, but we've had a good day. We get to spend it with friends, and Brad Saul and Brett Delidio in the ABC box. We've heard from Ben McAvoy and Jordan Lockyer. It's been a successful day, plus Lance Franklin in attendance. Here's McLean. His set shot's good. And all of a sudden, we got a new high water mark right at the finish. Sydney by 76 points. 25 gone in the final term. They have done a job on Hawthorn today. 18-10, 118. Hawthorn 5-12-42. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's hard to polish up this game, isn't it, Sully? It's plenty coming through thick and fast.
Big boy written in again?
I'm not sure we've got any more from him, unfortunately. So maybe he's finished on the tractor in the
flooding.
No, he sent something in. It hasn't come through.
You've got a direct line.
I've got a direct line to the tractor.
You're going to have to leave it with me. I'll try and...
Maybe they're coming in too fast.
Too fast.
You've gone past them.
I still can't get over Jordan texting in. That has made my night. Shout out to one of my old mentors, Roger Wills, who said, always think of the listeners. You never know those who are listening on the tractor and out there all around Australia. As Weddle tries to get the clearance of the Hawks. Tackled. Wicks pitches it back for the Swans. They might not be done with yet. Rowbottom kicks it inside 50. Warner marks. He plays on. Swings on his right. Back on his left. Dribbles a kick up into the direction of McLean. Can't gather. Sicily gathers. Clear it by all measures. Kicks up to the wing, but Florent was waiting. He takes the mark in front of Connor McDonald. Kicks into the middle of the ground for Brodie Grundy.
I've got it.
Grundy inside 50. Into the direction of Jordan. It's spoiled away from him, and Connor McDonald on half-back kicks up towards the wing. Tough one from Ramsden. He's out of position. Here go Corby as Melican takes the mark.
Buddy's 2 goals against Essendon. I always watched Cale Hooker's valiant chase and thought, thank God that's not me. Great to hear from Ben
Very
McAvoy
good, big
on
boy.
the tractor in the Wimmera, and great assist from Brad Saul as well to make sure we got to it. As Sydney go inside 51 last time, McLean into the forward pocket, Warner can't mark, Sicily sweeps a hand pass. It's been a rough old day for Hawthorn, but it's been equally as good for Sydney. They're second on the table with a grudge match against their crosstown rivals to come. Two heavyweights of the competition next, Sydney and the Giants, while Hawthorn are well and truly on the struggle bus. The Swans by 76 points. It got 25 points at quarter time, 42 at the half, 58 at three-quarter time, and 76 points in the finish. Another grim old day for Hawthorn, while the Sydney Swans sit beautifully at 6-1. The date with GWS next Saturday at the SCG. 38,052 in to see it, including one of the old-timers in Lance Franklin. He sees his most recent team win large.
Honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
And if that wasn't enough, we've got another 55 short minutes ahead of us post-game right here on ABC Sport.
Highlights.
Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Brett Sewell and Brett Delidio. 76 points. Sydney's victory in the end. The goal kickers, first of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them. Almost half the team kicked the goal. 3 for Isaac Heaney, 3 for Logan McDonald, 2 for Hayward, 2 for Wicks, and then singles for Warner, Adams, Papley, Florent, Jordan, Goulden and Amati. Meanwhile for Hawthorn, this doesn't take nearly as long. 1 for Newcombe, Moore, Hardwick, Meek and Joel. Sydney moved to 6-1 on the season. The thoughts of Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio. The Swans by 76 points.
Sydney will bank it. Horse was quite animated in the coach's box there at times, and Liz, we sort of touched on it. It's funny how in these types of games the coach can become more animated because you're stepping outside a process.
Yep.
And at times it looked like a bit of
Horse, or are you talking about Mitch?
No, sorry, Horse.
Yes.
Clarko was the same against lesser sides, and I'm sure Dim was as well at periods. But yes, I mean, Sydney will just bank this and move on. There won't be too much for them to review. For Mitch and the Hawks, this becomes a really challenging pattern, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I think, because I've been there as a player and knowing what it's like to go through this, you've been through it as well. You know that you're looking not at the win-loss column, you're looking for the small wins on the day, you're looking for progress in terms of what you're actually trying to achieve for the greater good. And unfortunately, I feel like they took a little step back today. Like last week, albeit the opposition were a hell of a lot less than what Sydney was today, they played the game in a different manner. And I get it when it's easier and it's on your terms, you can do that. They spoke about bringing the mouth guards to training and being able to have a harder edge. Well, I'll tell you what, this loss is a hell of a lot worse than that Gold Coast one, so it'll be interesting to see what this week looks like. Mitch Lewis no doubt helps in the front end, but I don't think he's a 13 goal they're a 13 goal better team with him in it. It's a really hard one to articulate in terms of where to for the Hawks. I think it's just continue to blood young players and see what they've got, see where they're up to it, and try and build on what you are trying to achieve for the long term of the club.
Yeah. I mean, for these guys, it's about processes and habits and forming those good habits, trying to keep a bit of positivity at the club, keeping the energy up, trying to make the place still feel fun and an enjoyable place to be. But we've seen from Mitch the last couple of weeks, he's becoming more animated, he's becoming more agitated, and be it in the coach's box or coaching from the ground in itself. Although he wasn't down there today. They had a little bit of reprieve last week against the Kangaroos, but today will be a challenge for them to review.
It's the equal widest margin of any game this year. So I mentioned that 76-point margin. The Eagles losing to the Bulldogs back in round 3.
Yep.
That's on par. 76-point defeat for the Hawks after they got their sugar hit last week against the Roos with a win, but this is sort of back to where they've been with a big defeat up against a team certainly in premiership contention. We'll have it covered from every angle. Jess Webster's downstairs, so we'll do the winning and then we'll do the losing. So we'll start with the Swans and then move on to the Hawks. It is hard to assess Sydney on a team on a day like today, isn't it? I mean, we're going to learn so much about them next Saturday afternoon, but what do you make of the Swans and the way they're set up and what they got?
I think they're slick. I've got them pegged, top 4. Next week's going to be a great game, and you've built it up a little bit already. But that the derbies, if that's what you want to call them, are always massive. And there's a real hatred there. I know from living it as a Giants supporter and Giants player and coming up against the Swans, and they were bullied early a lot. So that's a great match. But the Swans are. They were so sharp at times today. Their hands in close were great. Their ability off half-back is... They've got speed, but they use it incredibly well. And now with Logan McDonald up front and McLean up there as well, they've got some real key targets as well as the smaller ground players. But there's not too many areas now with Heaney inside in the middle of the ground where they really lack, do they? I mean, if you look right across the board, I think they're pretty sound. Melican coming back in, more of a surprise. Rampy to come back into that side. And McCartan, just holding up and doing what he needs to do as the full-back.
Just having a look at the Swans down there. Callum Mills is there in the tracksuit. Luke Parker is as well. So I think both of them would be pretty keen to get involved at some stage. 12 individual goal kickers today.
That's good, isn't it?
Do they have the best midfield in the AFL, be it at round 7?
Ooh. They've got the best player in the comp at the moment, I think, in Isaac Heaney. But
Port Adelaide, all of a sudden, have got a couple of injuries.
Yeah, it makes... I think
Melbourne went fit and up and firing.
Yeah, but they're hit and miss a little bit at the moment. They've got the best ruckman, but then their other couple of mids can be a little bit up and down at times. I think the Giants are pretty even right across the board.
It wasn't that long ago we were having a conversation around whether Isaac Heaney could be a Jordan De Goey type of player.
Yeah.
He might surpass Jordan De Goey if he can be a player who plays in the midfield and kicks 2 or 3 goals a game.
Mate, they are so hard to come by. That's getting back to the little master sort of territory in Gaz Ablett. His ability to be midfield but still kick 2 or 3. There's not a lot of mids that have done it over the journey. Sully,
Chris Judd.
Back. Juddy, but not as consistent. I don't think he kicked a lot of... Well, he kicked goals. I'm not questioning his career by any stretch. Danger's probably done it a little bit, I think. Swanee was pretty good at getting forward and kicking goals, but...
James Hurd.
Yeah.
Sure.
But Isaac Heaney at the moment is in rare form.
His confidence seems to be sky high. He's playing like a player all of a sudden who believes he's capable of doing anything on a day.
Yeah, but I also think that he's not feeling like the pressure of, I have to perform here, otherwise we're no good. He's got a great support staff all around him that allows him just to be and just to play. I think that's when you find yourself in your best vein of form, that's for sure.
We'll get some reaction from both rooms. The Sydney Swans are still out on the ground, and Braden Campbell thought this is a good opportune time to start my running. So he's the sub, which means he's doing these run-throughs on the boundary line. That can't be much fun, can it, after a game of footy?
I only ever did it once. It was a NEFL game, would you believe, out of Blacktown.
Wow.
I played a half a footy and they said, right, you haven't quite hit your numbers. You got 6 200s. I was like, oh, you're kidding me, aren't you? There's nothing worse.
George Wardlaw was doing it with someone for North and they actually got kicked off the ground. The security asked them to get off the ground.
I can't remember who that was.
They've created their own little start line here with the tipped out Esky, and they got all the ice there, and the Sydney Swans boys are at the top of the race. They're just waiting for Nick Blakey to finish his television commitments, and he's just about to head downstairs as I think it's Jacob Constanti who's with him, and Braden Campbell. Is it Constanti? Is it?
Constanti, yeah.
Constanti. We haven't.
Glad we've cleared that up right now.
Constanti, right? He's yet to make his debut, but he's the travelling emergency for the Sydney Swans. All right, the Swans are going down the race. We'll check in with Jess in just a moment. If you've just flicked on the radio, we've had 2 games today, and they're both decided beyond 6 goals. So the Suns by 37 points over the Eagles in the Battle of the Coasters. And then in the late fixture, it was the Sydney Swans by 76 points over the Hawks. Sydney 18-10, 118 over Hawthorn 5-12-42. We're on air for about another 3/4 of an hour. Let's go inside the winners' rooms with Jess Webster. Jess.
Thanks, Corby. The players are making their way down the race and into the rooms now. It was an incredible victory, wasn't it? They performed so well and they're humming at the moment, the Swans. The only loss that they've had this year is against Richmond by 5 points, and this is a comprehensive victory against the Hawks as they slowly make their way into the rooms. Plenty of applause from the family and friends that have made their way into the rooms here. And we're pretty satisfied knowing that they got a good win at the MCG, of course. We like to call it the home of footy. So many positives to take out of this victory for this Swans team ahead of what's going to be a massive clash against GWS next week. You'll think that they'll be pretty happy to sing this song. And you're in the circle now. Here we go. Let's have a listen. The Swans are flying at the moment. We'll hopefully get some reactions very shortly.
Thanks, Jess. The SMS number, by the way, 0437 774 774 is the SMS. Keep them coming through. I've got one here. Can you please check the Swans goal kickers? Did I miss one when I was running through them?
I'm going to give you a quick fire. 3 to Logan McDonald. He kicked 3-3. Isaac Henny booted 3 as well. 2 to Wicks. Individuals
two to Hayward.
2 to Hayward, sorry. Yep, 2 to Hayward. Individuals to Warner, McLean, Adams, Papley, Florent, Jordan, Goulden, Amadi. That's the 18 goal kicker, 18 goals, 10, that's 118. That's 12 individual goal kickers.
Maybe, Greg, we've missed one. If we have, I think that's 18.
Just checked.
Yep, 18-10 to 5-12 is the full-time result. In front of 38,052, the Swans by 76 points. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch in the ABC box. Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio with us, and Jess Webster is in the winners' rooms after Sydney's 76-point victory over the Hawks. Jess.
Thanks, Corby. Here with Isaac Heaney after what was a comprehensive victory against Hawthorn at a venue that you haven't had a good record at recently. It must be a pretty satisfying victory. How do you assess the performance?
No, the record this year's been all right, so we'll just look at that. But no, it's good. Good for quarter one. We the last few weeks have probably slipped away at times throughout the game, just in different patches. But I feel like that was a pretty good four-quarter performance. So it's important we take confidence out of that leading into next week, knowing how hot the Giants are. So.
You seem to be cruising at the moment. The only loss you've had is against Richmond by 5 points. How much growth do you think is still left in this playing group?
I mean, we've got some young fellas that are getting better each week, but you got Parks, you got Millsy come back into the team, and there's plenty there to go through different positions, and the versatility of the team is unbelievable, and the fitness of this team. We had an amazing pre-season with lots of numbers, and it's showing at the moment, so it's bloody exciting.
You seem to be going along all right as well, playing some really good footy. How are you feeling physically and mentally?
Feel good, yeah. Had a good pre-season. Body's feeling good. Obviously, different position for myself, just to get in the guts and be tough, and I put my head over it and then run hard as well. So playing, I feel like I'm playing right footy and feel confident, and it helps knowing that the team's playing so well. And you got people like obviously the milestone man, Jimmy Rowbottom in the middle that just goes to town and does all that the hard grunt there to allow players like myself, Chad and Errol to I guess get on the outside and on the end of a few, and it's an amazing selfless team at the moment.
Isaac Heaney with us on ABC Sport. I will send you upstairs to our experts, Brett Delidio and Brad Sewell. Over to you.
Isaac, Brett Delidio here, mate. Well done on your own form in the win today. I'm interested in your role, mate. You've taken your game to another level, but it seems like you're playing with so much freedom, and you spoke about Jimmy Rowbottom and probably James Jordan a little bit. Is that the confidence that Horse has given you as well, just to play your natural game and go forward as you see?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the versatility of the players, like the amount of players we've got going through the midfield, allows me to start in there and then work hard forward. But as long as I'm doing the team stuff, he allows me to do that. So it's working well at the moment, and we know we've got some tough matches coming up. So we'll be tested, and hopefully we'll just continue this form.
And you must be pleased with the spread of goal kickers today, mate. Like, no one kicks over 3, but we've got a number of 11 different goal kickers. when you're having that many threats going forward, it must be pleasing for you and the coaching staff, no doubt.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's if the big boys can kick straight, it'd be nice. But it's an amazing spread, and you got midfielders kicking goals, which is obviously extremely valuable. But our forwards producing as well, and it's just like I said before, it's just a really good team performance, and the boys are selfless with the way they go about things.
Isaac Bradstall, mate, well done. You're in a rich vein of form. Tell me, what are you focusing on yourself? Are there sort of little patches of your game that areas at the moment?
I think my strength is probably my versatility and being able to get inside and be physical, but then also the spread on the outside and sneak forward and kick some goals. So I think Finn came to me in the second and third quarter and was pretty tight. I got plenty of help from the boys, which was nice, and been able to take him forward and just switch different roles. And like I said before, it's a good selfless team that boys recognise that and can come in and replace me, and we can do different things. So no, for myself, it's just focusing on being hard and tough and clean with the footy, and I feel like I'm doing that.
I'm sure you're aware today, big buddy Franklin was at the ground. What are some of your fondest memories of seeing Bud at Hawthorn and as a teammate?
I never watched much footy growing up, so I missed probably the first half of his career until I got to the Swans, and he was already here. So he was an unbelievable person, and in my opinion, the greatest player to play the game. And to have him around and I guess mentor me in the first few years was incredible. And probably my fondest memory was probably him putting people to the sword on the table tennis table. He loved that. When he was on fire, he couldn't be stopped. And then obviously his 1,000th goal. I feel very blessed to be able to play in that and be around him when he kicked that, which will probably never happen again. So he's just an amazing person. Hopefully we'll have a few beers with him after this.
Yeah, nice.
Isaac Heaney's with us in the Sydney rooms. Isaac, it's Matt Clinch here. I think you turn 28 next week. I'm interested in sort of the transformation of this side and the next generation of the Bloods culture. You look at some of the names coming through with Nick Blakey and Rowbottom and Gordon and Warner. It just seems so exciting. What do you see your role in being part of the leadership to try and get this next group into that next level where you're competing in grand finals?
It's a funny one. I'm known as pretty old around here, but bloody don't feel it. When you got the likes of those boys that are 22 or 20 to 23, I reckon, majority of our midfield. So I'm just going to have to keep up with them, and I feel like I can do that. And like you said, just mentor them and bring them through to know that team first mentality gets it done. And I think we've got plenty of players that are unbelievable talents, and when they stick to their, I guess, team first mentality, they play best. So as long as we keep that front of mind, everyone will shine.
And it's your best start to a season since 2016, 6 wins and 1 loss. It's always hard to compare, but do you feel like this team is building in all the right directions as what you've seen in previous years?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's like I said before, it's a very talented team and a very selfless team at the moment, and that's why we're getting wins. So it's exciting. I think we can do some damage this year, and assuming we stay fit and the boys are. Yeah, boys' confidence are right up and about, and it's like I said before, it's just exciting.
The early Brownlow medal favourite Isaac Heaney with us on ABC Sport. Isaac, you're very humble about your own game. I know you mentioned about you're getting a bit more time in the guts and everything else. What do you think the major difference is that's taken you from fringe all of Australian, one of the more flashy players in the game to all of a sudden become a dominant figure through 7 weeks? Is it just the position change? Is it something different you did over the summer? How have you been this version of yourself through the first 7 weeks?
No, I think the position change suits me nicely, and then in the past it's just been I've had to go forward and do a roll forward, and I feel like I've been able to do that, but at times you can get shut down, especially when people go a bit tighter to you, and in the midfield you can kind of run your own race a little bit, and as long as I'm sticking to the team, then I can do that, and Horse gives me the freedom, and like I said before, I feel fit and had a good pre-season, so plenty of running my legs, and as long as I'm tough and I'm tough and clean, then I think everything else flows on.
And last one, next Saturday afternoon you play GWS. It is not just a big game for footy in New South Wales, it's a massive game that'll ring bells across the country too in terms of the broader context of the competition. Brett Delidio just revealed that when he was playing at the Giants, they marked this game on the calendar and they didn't particularly like the Sydney Swans. Is the feeling mutual from inside the Sydney camp?
Yeah, it's a funny one because I know a lot of the boys closely, and but on the footy field, yeah, it's one of the tough ones, and it's always physical. It's always generally pretty close, and they've had the better of us. So we're going to be fired right up, ready to go. And like you said, it's a big game in the context of the season, and to see where we really stand, I guess, against the top side. So it is definitely a big one. It'll be marked in our calendar too, and I'm sure it'll be fiery. It'll be hard, and it's going to be exciting.
Hey, Isaac, one just not about footy. I got told a story from Teddy Richards that you took him spearfishing one day. Do you still get a chance to get out there, mate, and catch anything?
I do. I love my fishing. I haven't speared too much since that poor fella got eaten by a shark.
Got done.
Sorry, yeah. Probably didn't describe that the best, but no, since that happened, I've kind of stayed out of the water, more in a boat. But I do love my surfing and my fishing, and that's my getaway time, my relaxed time, and just to clear the head and just sit back and relax. So I do it a little bit, and I love it. So,
given we're finishing on a lighter note, Isaac, we threw out the SMS line to Jordan Lockyer, who texted in. He gave, of course, the number 23 at Sydney to Lance Franklin. Can you remember any of that time as to the transition when he made his way to Sydney?
That was my first couple of years, and they're a bit of a blur. So he was there a year before I got there. I was first drafted, so a bit of a blur, and I didn't really know who. Sorry, we're getting told to wrap up here, but I don't remember too much of it, other than the fact that I was just in awe every time I ran out there, and I had the front seat to the Buddy show most weeks. So I loved every minute of it, but it is a bit of a blur.
You've been very generous with your time, Isaac. After a game of footy, you are playing some sensational footy. Really appreciate your time on ABC Sport, and keep doing good things.
Thanks, lads. Ta.
Isaac Heaney in the victorious Sydney rooms with our own Jess Webster. So we'll jump across to the Hawthorn rooms and get some reaction from there as well. And it's probably the complete opposite feeling. A 76-point win for the Swans over Hawthorn full time. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. We've got another 35 minutes from the MCG with Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio in the box.
The reason I asked that question is because Teddy told me this story that you look at Isaac, a beautiful man with the blonde locks, comes out carrying a big fish, covered in blood and guts and whatever else, just a country lad that loves as he explained it, getting away from footy and being able to just release.
So he grew up just out of Newcastle in the bush, and Sully asked him about Lance Franklin growing up, and this is where, and I know the academies are controversial, particularly in this part of the world, this is where we actually see it in action, where this is a guy that easily could have been playing rugby league. He grew up in rugby league heartland, played junior footy, as in rugby league footy, could have easily made his way through the pathway there and be in another code. Instead, he's the best player in our game through the first 7 weeks of a season. That probably wouldn't have happened unless there was a way for him into the system.
No, and that's the challenge for the academies, isn't it? To attract the best talent, the best athletically gifted, I guess, young players. And, I mean, Isaac could have played any number of sports by the looks of it, whether it be soccer, league, union, and Aussie rules, and fortunately for our game with our programs via the academies, he gets lassooned into our games and our pathways, and we're much better for it.
You would have seen Sydney-based guys come through at the Giants, similar way.
Yeah, Charlie Spargo was training with us when I was first there. Tommy Green was a part of the academy. Obviously played with Harry Himmelberg, Harry Perryman, a couple of boys. Jimmy Peatling was also an academy kid, so. Well, there was plenty that came through, but you saw that there was also a lot that had to play and fill in when we had low numbers in the NEFL, and sometimes those boys were coming out of the twos essentially of local clubs. But footy's not their number one up there, so to pick and handpick someone like an Isaac or Braden Campbell, Errol Gould, and the guys that have come through, they're reaping the rewards, as are the Suns at the moment with the development. But it's also the time and effort that they put into it. You know? I think that's where it gets lost on a lot of people.
In my time living up there too, you could see, I thought it was particularly in rugby union heartland that they'd really moved in and probably as Union is on the wane a little bit, that they became Aussie rules areas. So it wasn't so much the West yet, and that's going to be a generational thing out, stand in Parramatta and look west, and that's completely rugby league heartland that the Giants will have to try and flip over time. But certainly in the eastern suburbs, driving down the street on a Sunday morning, there's Auskick games all over the place, and you can clearly see the impact that it had in that area and what the Swans were able to do. I do like the reform aspect of it, that the matching of the bidding system and everything else. I feel like that's surely the way forward, isn't it? And it's the same with the father-sons, that, unlike when we had the Ablett situation where Geelong were able to get him in the late 20s or whatever it was, and I think it was a second-round pick for father-sons back in the day. Nowadays, at least, if a club...
third. I think it was more than that for Kaz. Yeah.
But like, if a club wants to bid on them and force the hand of the teams with the academies to match them, I don't have an issue with that at all.
Yeah, and that's the only way you can somewhat even it up, I think. But look, if clubs know that they've got a genuine star on their hands, as like the Suns did last year with 4 first-rounders, essentially, they're not giving them up, and they plan for that. And they know what's coming through, and that's why it's important for clubs to go and pre-plan, watch the kids that are coming through, especially in those regions where the academies are. But the trading of future picks and all that sort of stuff is where the game's heading, to be able to say, well, we're willing to sit this draft out to some extent. I know you've still got to make some changes here and there, but we know what's coming next year, so we're going to load up in that sense.
Full time at the MCG, Sydney by 76 points over Hawthorn, so 18-10, 1-18. They beat the Hawks 5-12-42. It was another poor day for Hawthorn. They kicked just 3 goals after quarter time, 1 in each of the final 3 terms. So they're 1-6 on the season, Hawthorn, while the Sydney Swans are 6-1. They sit second on the premiership table. Your thoughts off the SMS, which are coming through thick and fast. We were talking about monikers or mascot names from certain footy clubs. In Frankston, they have a team called the Tomatoes, and their home ground is referred to as the Tomato Patch. I don't mind. Lads, Hawthorn supporter since 1967. Didn't pick them today. Thanks, Hawks. Picked 9 winners, plus a bonus point. Puts me 2 clear in the work tipping competition. Silver lining from Tom in Wheelers Hill. Thanks, Tom. And from Annie. Very nice text this. You've all managed to make the commentary entertaining, and that's masterful for this shocking game. It certainly wasn't pretty, but the curtain has finally come down on round 7 of the AFL Premiership season. Quick little breakdown of the ladder, how it sits at the moment. So on top, a game clear. The undefeated Cats at 7-0. We've got Sydney and GWS both at 6-1. So the winner next week will stay top 2. The loser falls back down. Melbourne, Port Adelaide and Carlton are the next bracket of teams, all at 5-2. And then Essendon, 4.5 wins. They sit outright in 7th spot. Fremantle on 4 wins are in 8th. Gold Coast also on 4 wins, but due to an inferior percentage, they find themselves in 9th spot. Collingwood on 3.5 wins, ahead of the Western Bulldogs in 11th on 3 wins. And then the 2-win teams, starting with Adelaide in 12th, Brisbane, St Kilda and West Coast. Richmond and Hawthorn with just 1 win each. The Hawks percentage drops to 69, and North Melbourne last of all 0-7 is their record at the moment on the bottom of the table. It was a fun round of footy, wasn't it, across the board? I mean, it was stretched out across 5 days. Yep. I think we've had a period here where we had football on 9 out of 11 days, but very rewarding, particularly with the matches here at the MCG. 3 of them in front of bumper crowds with the Anzac Eve game into the Anzac Day blockbuster and the 2 heavyweights in Carlton and Geelong going at it.
I think they're the 2 games, aren't they? The Collingwood Essendon one and the Carlton Geelong ones. Other than that, the round was a bit ho-hum.
Good win by the Freo Dockers, I guess, to get back on the winners list.
Yep.
And the Bulldogs, there's more questions and examination on them, no doubt, which will take place in the week. Are they a top 8 side? Freo pinched their spot in the top 8 for the moment, but I mean, they take on the Hawks. We'll get a look at them next Sunday, so we can sort of dissect them a bit greater on Sunday. But
the team for me is the Lions that we need to be dissecting.
Yes, 2 and 5. Yeah.
They've had a hard run. I'll grant them that, but geez, I expected them to be a little bit more than 2 wins at this point in time of the year. That's for sure.
Is there pressure on Chris Fagan if Brisbane don't make the finals? There's pressure on every coach, as you said, but I think the expectation around Brisbane would have been. I'm one of the first to say I had them finishing on top. So if they don't feature in the finals, I think that would force for reflection by a lot at Brisbane.
Yeah, look, I mean, how much does runs on the board count in today's day and age? I don't think it tends to. I think clubs are pretty impatient with and if they see an opportunity to move forward, and whether they still think Fags is the right man for the job, I'm not on the ground up there. I've got no idea, but in our win-loss game, I think you can only judge it by where they're currently sitting, and you'd have to say yes in that sense. But I think he's done a hell of a lot of good work up there to get them to where they are.
I mean, I think it also depends on the nature of some of those losses as well.
Yep.
If there are games like today on Brisbane's scorecard, then it becomes a hard sell.
Their last one was that was a hiding.
But we're not making that decision now. It would be something that's considered towards the end of the year, and then you also don't know to what extent things internally have played a part to some of their performances as well.
Yeah.
And they have played in a grand final, 2 prelims and a semi.
That's what I mean.
So there's a lot of clubs that would happily swap with them. It's just the question as to, are they maximising their talent they've got right now, or will potentially the window close and all of a sudden what could have been?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree. I think they've been at the pointy end for a lot of years, and they're giving themselves a chance. So's Geelong. They've managed to get one, whereas the Lions haven't. I think the team that was thankful they were playing North on the weekend was Adelaide, given where they've been at prior to the weekend's game. But you wouldn't want that to just paper over any cracks, I don't think.
We'll get some reaction from the Hawthorn rooms. I think Jess Webster is there. We might just get a little scene setter from Jess. No, we're not going to do that. We'll get to Jess shortly, but not now. We do have some reaction off the SMS. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. My name's Corbin Middlemass. Matt Clinch is alongside me, as is the two-time All-Australian Brett Delidio and the two-time Premiership Hawk Brad Sewell. All right, let's fly through these. You said 11 goal scorers for Sydney, nearly half the team, but probably read out the 12, half of the team from Dean. So there were actually 12 goal kickers. That's where I've mucked that up. 3 for Heaney, 3 for McDonald, 2 for Hayward, 2 for Wicks, and then 1 each for Warner, McLean, Adams, Papley, Florent, Jordan, Gordon, Amati. You're quite right. That is 12 goal kickers for the Sydney Swans, so my apologies on that front. I think this one came through a bit earlier. We've done plenty on the Swans, haven't we? And their premiership chances. Said I'm looking forward to a thorough analysis of the Swans' premiership chances for a 6-1 side. We've spoken about the Swans. We like them.
Yep, they're great.
We're keen to see how they're going to go.
They're clearly in the conversation with Geelong, GWS.
100%.
Are they better than Melbourne, Port Adelaide, the chasing pack?
I think
Carlton?
they're better than Melbourne. I don't think they're on par with Carlton. I think Carlton at full strength. In my opinion.
We've been talking about great mascot names today on ABC Sport as well. Hi, Corbin and team. Love the ABC footy calls. Try and beat the Southern Footy League in Adelaide when it comes to club names. Noarlunga, I called the Shoes. Named after their location on the horseshoe of the... I can't even pronounce that. Onkaparinga River? I hope I pronounced that correct.
Onkaparinga, yep.
There we go. Morfett Vale are the emus. Ranella are the... wine flies. There we go, the wine flies. And Port Noarlunga are the cockle divers.
Yeah, that's Fitzy's home club. Ryan Fitzgerald.
There you go, the cockle divers. Port Noarlunga. Thanks from Murph in Blackstone, WA, somewhere near the SANT border. Appreciate that, Murph, for your message. Claire says, was that really the Swans theme song? Don't let them give up their day jobs unless they're playing the Pies, that is, from Claire. So not happy with the way that the boys sung the song. I've got another one around that too. Phil in Werribee. Theme songs after the match. So sad to hear the dishonour shown by clubs in their history. When I participated in the country football, we were proud to sing the song when we won. Now the players seem like they just want to get their woof woof in and get out of that as soon as possible. I didn't notice it, to be honest. But,
the woofs and the woos.
Steve from North Perth, here's one for you, Sully. Favourite Buddy moment? The chase down tackle by Dale Morris on Buddy when the ball was spilling free for a crucial Tom Boyd goal in the 2016 Grand Final. Oh, the Dogs started to believe from that moment from Steve in North Perth. You can clearly see where his allegiances lie. What do you mean Heaney could have stuck with playing that dreadful game, Mugby? But he has shown the light, and we are so blessed that he has in playing Australian rules football, the best code of all. Thank you for that. Off the SMS from Mick. Both Hawthorn and North are so far back of the rest of the competition. Their only win is when they play each other surely in round 24. Even West Coast has improved. And from John in Epping, as a Sydney resident, I think the academy should be left alone. Let's see the Melbourne clubs develop their own talent. And don't start me about the inequality of the draw when the Melbourne teams have so many games at home. I think that's actually the contentious point, because we don't have a zoning system in Melbourne the same way that there is in some of the other markets. But another conversation for another time. The news of the day. I want to get your thoughts on some of this, gentlemen. So, first of all, the one-match ban that's been offered to Riley West.
I haven't seen the incident.
So running past the footy, clipped Brendan Walker high, and as a result, any sort of shoulder contact to the head, the AFL hates that. Walker went off the ground, had to do the Scat 6 test, passed it, came back on the ground. It's probably saved him a few weeks, so as a result, he's been offered one match, Riley West, for that incident by the match review officer earlier today. Patrick Dangerfield, 34 years of age, left hamstring, same side. He's already done one. If you do a second hamstring in the first, well, really, that's 5 weeks. He did his last one in round 2 in Adelaide. We usually hear 21 days, but he's 34, Sawley. When are we likely to see him back?
Look, if they're pegging themselves for a deep September campaign, they will give him every chance.
6 weeks.
Training block, just to make sure that he gets enough games in to be cherry ripe for the finals.
He did that in 22 when they won it. Yeah.
Cameron Ling was big today on AFL Sunday that his first half he was possessed like a captain who wanted to set the tone, and now, a bit like what they've done with Cam Guthrie, where they managed him and trained him for 3 or 4 weeks before he finally played a game, just to try and make sure his body was ready for the rigours of AFL footy. So I suppose with, what have they got still? Another 8 games at Cardinia Park. It does allow them the foundations to just manage their season a little bit. And Mitch Duncan told us today that it's a weekly conversation which they have with Chris Scott about how they manage their list to try and get the best out of it throughout the season.
It was interesting that Tom Atkins, the sub yesterday. Most other teams you look at and you think, the sub's generally the fringe guy who's on the outer. It doesn't seem that way at the Cats. They just kind of cycle through him, and before long he'll be well and truly back in the middle of the ground, and they could certainly do with him with Dangerfield going out as a bit of extra support around the ball. It was a savage weekend on injuries. It feels like we talk about this every week, star players in the competition. Sam Powell-Pepper's torn his ACL. Alia is in the concussion protocol, so he will miss the showdown on Thursday. And Connor Rosie, so speaking of hamstrings, they've listed this as a low-grade hamstring strain, 1 to 2 weeks. Is there such a thing? And if so, how do you possibly test it out? Like, surely if you're Port Adelaide, you can't send him flying out there full speed if he's got, as he describes, a nick in his hamstring.
Yeah. I only did 1, maybe 2 hammies, and it was... You can run pretty much nearly straight away just about and try and get the blood flow going back through it. But and in terms of that explosiveness, that'll be towards the back end of that. And hopefully that awareness goes away really quickly and it'll be fine. But the bending down at speed to try and gather a ground ball or something like that, or the lunge to try and tackle, that's where it'll get fully tested, I'd imagine.
The other one is Cody Waitman, who has had elbow issues already this season. He's wearing that almost like an NBA shooter's sleeve on his arm, dislocated his elbow last night. The Dogs are pondering surgery. So if they have this surgically repaired, he's going to miss 3 months of footy. It's a
big loss for the Dogs too, isn't he?
Massive. And it's a huge decision to make at this stage, isn't it? Whether you play him and it keeps occurring like it did last night and you're basically one short, or you bite the bullet now and go, let's put him in at the end of April and hope that our season's still alive when he comes back in August.
And it goes against the way he plays. Like, to try and take that element out of his game, watching the game last night, I'm not sure he can do that. Or he doesn't fly for those balls. It's just so instinctive for him to do it.
Yeah. He brings so much energy to that forward line when he's up and about, buzzing, chasing, tackling, diving, like you've just spoken about, Clinchy. That is his game, and that's what I think feeds everyone else into some energy too for the Dogs.
The other MRO one to watch during the week is Jack Higgins, who yesterday was handed 3 games for his tackle on Alia. You could argue Alia contributed to this by trying to kick the ball as he was being tackled. He was offered 3 matches by Michael Christian.
What's Jack Higgins supposed to do in this sense? Or what's he supposed to do? I mean, he doesn't want to let go of the tackle, ineffective tackle. But if he slings down, because he's a bigger man, he's just trying to roll him over. I get that he's concussed. We want to try and take that out of the game, but there's not a lot of options there.
So the AFL will argue that it's Higgins' responsibility as the tackler.
To do what? What's he supposed to do?
To protect. So if he's going to lay a tackle, it's wholly on him, the responsibility to decide what happens to that player. And if he ends up concussed...
So we don't want tackles anymore. Tackles are done.
They're going to force him to be held
accountable. Sounds like AFL 9s. Looks like we'll get a game, Clinchy, I reckon.
That's the way that it's headed. I'm fascinated to see how it goes, and I'm sure they will try their best at the tribunal on probably Tuesday night.
I'll get the recruiters down on a Monday night. Come and have a look.
Sydney,
a few good players down there.
Sydney by 76 points in front of 38,000. It is the equal widest margin of any game all year. Into the Hawthorn rooms with Jess Webster.
Thanks, Corby. Here with Jai Newcombe. Jai, thanks so much for your time. A tough loss today. You've just come out of a team meeting. What were the key messages being said?
Obviously it's disappointing today to go down the way we did. Nothing really surprised us today. We weren't able to execute what we came here to do for long enough and put them under sort of enough pressure for long enough to cause mistakes and sort of get the game on our terms.
What's the most frustrating part about it? Because you are a young developing group. You're coming against one of the premiership favourites today. But is that the right feeling? Are you frustrated, or are you sort of realistic of where this group is at?
A bit of both. Obviously, you've got to be frustrated with a loss like that. I mean, there's going to be positives to come out of the day. We were leading inside 50s until halfway through the last quarter, and we get, for the first time as mids this year, we get some clearance wins, which is positive. Unfortunately, we weren't able to turn that into scores, which pretty much hurt us, and allowed them to get their uncontested mark game going, which we knew was going to be a threat coming in. So it's a balanced wave. Obviously, there's a lot of learning to come out of a 70-point loss, but there's definitely some minor things in the game that did go our way.
One of the positives is getting Will Day back. It must be great to see him back out there on the field.
Yeah, it certainly is. Obviously, Daisy's a massive part of this footy club, and to see him get through 4 quarters today would be massive for his confidence going forward. Obviously, been out for a little while now, and he's been sick of watching from the bench and telling us what to do. So, we're happy to have him back, and hopefully he can have some big influences going forward.
John Newcombe with us on ABC Sport. I'll send you upstairs to our experts, Brad Sewell and Brett Delidio.
Jai, Brett Delidio here, mate. I'm just interested in how you, after a loss like that, and obviously you had the win last week, everything's feeling jovial and great. How do you keep the boys up and about? What do you turn to? What do you look to do?
We've been pretty good internally at keeping the positivity up and moving on. Obviously, Tuesday will be pretty solid look at what happened and what went wrong, and we move forward to the next challenge as quick as possible. Obviously, there's going to be key things to work on, and doggies are another sort of informed side that have had ups and downs throughout the year, so we'll move to them probably as quick as possible.
You say you wanted to stop the uncontested marks. Was that a want thing from the players, or was it not understanding the quick reaction, the defensive side of the game, and being that you said those learnings that you need to get better at? Is that what it is, or is it just a want thing to not close off the most dangerous player?
Structurally and I guess executionally as players, there's a balance to it. We were playing with an extra behind the ball for a little bit as well, and weren't squeezing up the ground to eliminate. And they probably would have taken 40 uncontested marks at least in the last sort of 15 minutes of the game, because we weren't coming forward to sort of shut it down. So it's sort of about individuals and understanding of the game, but also structurally, we've got roles and things, but smarts comes into it as well.
Jai, Brad Sewell, mate. Mitch is getting a bit agitated there at times. How was he in the meeting after the game?
No, he was good in the meeting after the game. He knows the ups and downs of footy, and we'll try and bounce out of this as quick as possible. We spoke about the good things that came out of it for us, and it's sort of when you look at the stats, it's disappointing to go down by as much as we did. So there's some little positives there that he was happy with, but I mean overall there's obviously a big sort of bit of disappointment around not being able to execute for long enough.
Big Bud was at the club yesterday, at the ground again today. How was that for the group?
There was a few nervous boys getting around the club on Friday when he was strolling around. I was definitely one of them. I was a Hawks fan growing up, so to actually sort of get the chance to meet him and have him in the flesh in the club, and hear him talk about part of his journey and what the Hawthorn Footy Club meant to him was pretty cool. And there's a few nuffies in the group that were in a similar boat, and not too many questions asked, and we got given the floor, so the boys were a bit nervous, but it's awesome to have him come down and show the love back to the Hawks.
Name names. Who was the biggest fanboy?
Ginnivan, high up there.
He got the photo, didn't he, Jack Ginnivan?
More and Scrimshaw as well. There's a few.
Good to hear. Jai Newcombe with us on ABC Sport. Jai, just for Hawthorn fans out there that are driving home, and this club's so used to success. I mean, they've been the most successful team really of the last 30 to 50 years. What do you tell them to look for? I mean, you've lost 3 of your 6 games now by over 50 points. What are they meant to think coming to the footy to watch this team play?
I think you got to have faith in what we're trying to achieve. I think as a club we've been pretty clear with the way we're going about it, and sort of sticking to the process that we've spoken about for probably 18 months now at least. And we're not going to get it right every time, but I think last week was a pleasing step in the right direction, and now it's about backing that up as often as possible. And we get another chance next week, and hopefully we get another good crowd in at Marvel and put up a performance that we can be proud of. Obviously the scoreboard wasn't great today, but I don't think we walk away from today saying that we didn't try in certain areas. So keep backing, keep showing up, and hopefully we'll get some wins on the board.
Do you feel like you're improving?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at, I guess, some key metrics across a lot of our games this year, we've won in certain areas. We just haven't been able to sort of capitalise on the scoreboard. So it's just a matter of piecing it all together as a group, and when that happens, I think it's going to be exciting to watch.
Joe Newcombe on ABC Sport. Just on a happier note, Joe, before you go, last week we did have a bit of fun talking about Ben Askren's trip to the Hawks over the summer. So he's, of course, the UFC fighter. He also got in the ring to fight Jake Paul in the boxing arena. But he came down to Hawthorn, and I understand he did some tackling work with you, and there was a couple of Hawthorn players that had the chance to wrestle with Ben Askren. I heard you were one of them, and I guess what I'm wanting to know is, how did that go?
Not well. It was over probably before I knew it, to be honest, but it was pretty cool to have Ben in, and he's obviously been a world-class athlete in a completely different game to what we're in, but there were some key takeaways for us in sort of the mentality around things, but he taught a few of us a lesson pretty quickly.
So not everyone wrestled him. How did it be determined that you were going to be one of them? Did you put your hand up, or did someone push you forward?
No, Mitch was pretty quick to throw a few of us under the bus. Sammy Butler cleaned him up during the week, and he got thrown into the Wolves first, and then it was sort of just get bigger and bigger as we went. So Sis went last and put up a fairish fight, I suppose, but still got slammed, so it was good.
As we let you go, Joe, we're just chatting about Jack Higgins and the tackling which he put on, which he's been suspended for 3 matches on Aaliyah. As someone who's made a career, you had 14 tackles on debut, have you had to adjust your style to make sure you are not executing in that slinging motion?
Yes and no. I think it's sort of each scenario is completely different, and it's really hard to get it right every time. I'm not going to lie. There's things happen pretty quickly out there, and momentum does funny things when you're committing those actions. But I think the AFL's doing the right thing in putting the player that's being tackled and protecting them, and it's for everyone else to be accountable and follow through with those actions. And it's unfortunate that guys are getting rubbed out for the weeks that they are, but we've got to look after ourselves as players as well.
And Joe, you mentioned Sam Butler. I don't know if you guys heard sort of before the start of play that he was hurt today in the VFL, and the fears are that he's broken his leg. Did you know that before the game had happened, and do you have any kind of update as to how he's going?
We were made aware before the game. We did just speak about it as well. Obviously, not the news you want to hear for a fellow teammate. Pretty tough sort of 45-minute period there, I think, at Fenju Stadium today, but we'll obviously wrap our arms around Butsy and show him the love that he needs and deserves. He's a quality human being, so he'll get a lot of love from us, and it's about making sure he has the right people around him now to get him back where he needs to be. I think it's going to be a bit of a long road for him, unfortunately, but we'll throw our arms around him and show him the support he needs.
Joey, time's always appreciated, especially after a loss like that today. Thanks heaps for dropping by, and we'll catch you at Docklands next Sunday.
All right, cheers, guys.
Joe Newcombe from the Hawks, a 76-point defeat to Sydney, as wide as any margin so far in 2024 in the AFL Premiership season. So the Swans, big winners. They had 12 different goal kickers en route. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Brad Saul, Brett Delidio in the box. And thanks to Jess Webster for all her work downstairs.
It's interesting just listening to Nuke then and saying that, a lot of uncontested marks in the last quarter, and, we're with them till halfway through with the inside 50s, and it's sort of like, it's interesting how you can spin the stats, and how the coaches have obviously got together and said, this is what we're going to tell the boys to keep them up and about, so that they're not just being like, oh my God, we were absolutely smashed today. Because from what we watched up here, that was a smashing.
That's what we're walking away thinking.
Yeah.
And I was interested to hear him too say, you can't walk away and say we didn't try today or we didn't compete in every area. And I think there would have been some Hawthorn supporters thinking, gee, this is a bit easy for the Swans.
But the amount of easy goals that they kicked from the goal square or just walked them in, that's not being hard to play against, if that makes sense. That's where you'd love to really press him on. But we appreciate his time, absolutely. And it's a hard thing to step up when you've had a loss like that, to be then fronting up to the media, I get it, but yeah, there's a few things there that I felt like they've been spun in those meetings there, Sully, which we all know. That I've been there, Sully's been there, we know the coaches are good at it.
That is important for a group, though, Sully, to be able to, I guess, sell a message so that the guys front up to training tomorrow and get back to work sort of not thinking that it's all doom and gloom. Like, how do you balance the cold, hard reality and making sure that the vibe isn't completely downcast after 7 weeks?
It's a fine line, isn't it?
Mm.
It's a really fine line because you still need the players wanting to turn up to work. You still need the players bringing their energy and bringing positivity and bringing their want to improve every single day. And that's really hard to do when you're not seeing those rewards on a week-to-week basis. And unfortunately, that's the challenge in our game. The measuring stick happens every single week. And it's there for everyone to see. And it doesn't matter what happens the weeks prior. It is only about those last 2 hours. And it's two sides of the coin for Hawthorn. Last week it was a positive experience, right? Those 2 hours was seen as a good result, and that spin you're talking about, Lids, isn't necessarily there. But today it's quite the contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
By comparison to what we saw. And how Mitch then sells that and what he wants to pick out of in terms of the stats sheets and how he wants to speak about that, because that then becomes the message from the players to the media, and then the challenge will be with the outside media, how they perceive today's game and what the story is going to be over the next couple of days.
We've got them next Sunday at Docklands up against the Western Bulldogs. The thoughts of two-time Premiership Hawk Brad Sewell.
If you told me the inside 50s were 50-47, I wouldn't have believed you, having called the game.
Right?
And the marks inside 50, 15 to Sydney to 13 to Hawthorn. And yet Hawthorn kicked 5 goals for the match. So for, 11%, their inside 50 efficiency. And yet they were missing Mitch Lewis and Luke Bruce will come back in. So there are some areas of improvement. And yet it felt like it was such a one-sided game, given the 76-point margin.
This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. We're about to get out of here. Just in the NRL today, Newcastle 18-14 over the Dolphins. So a 4-point win for the Knights. And it was Cronulla doing the job on the Raiders, 40-0. So wide margins there in the NRL as well. In the golf, American Brendan Steele has won the 54 series in Adelaide. So the Live Golf. Cam Smith's Ripper GC won the team event. So it went to a playoff. They defeated Stinger. I think GC stands for golf club. So they beat Stinger. Well done to Cam Smith and his Ripper team. So we had a team playoff in Adelaide for Live Golf. The votes here in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Brad Sewell has those. The Swans by 76 points.
Yes, I have given one vote to Errol Goulding. He was fantastic, 25 disposals, 1-1. 2 votes to Heaney. He's had the 21 and kicked 3. And I thought Ollie Florent was fantastic today. He's had 28 metres gained, almost 700.
Oh, and a goal from
halfback as well, halfback.
He was brilliant.
I like it. 3 for Florent, 2 for Heaney, 1 for Gordon in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Round 8. As we look ahead, so a showdown starts the round on Thursday night at Adelaide Oval. You can hear it all here on ABC Sport. On Friday night at the G, it is Carlton Collingwood in front of what is going to be an enormous crowd. Can't wait for that. The reigning champs up against last year's Final Four team in the Blues. On Saturday, it starts with the Swans and the Giants at the SCG. In the twilight, it is St Kilda, North Melbourne. Then Saturday night's a good one, the D's and the Cats, while the Eagles will play the Bombers out in Perth. On Sunday, it'll be Richmond and Fremantle, followed by the Bulldogs and the Hawks, and then a Q clash to end the round this time next week. That's a 7:10 start Eastern time as well, so proper Sunday night footy in Brisbane. Great fun, everyone. It's the Hour Post Games, just a little bit of icing on the cake. It's been great to be able to pull it all apart with all of you. Thanks, Lids.
Pleasure, Corb.
Thanks, Sully.
Thanks, gents.
Thanks to you,
Thanks,
Clinchy. Thanks to Jess Webster downstairs, to Stu Birchmore and to Akash back in the studio. My name's Corbin Middlemass, signing off. The 2 winners today, the Suns by 37 over the Eagles, and here it was the Swans by 76.
Back to Moore in the left forward pocket, a centre, he kicked to Hardwick. Blake Hardwick from directly in front, 25 metres out for the opening goal for the Hawks. He nails it straight through the middle at the city end. Now links up with Warner and left half forward, off the outside of the boot, kicks to McDonald. From right on 50, fires it out to the right, curls it back beautifully left. and puts through Sydney's second. A 1-2 with McInerney, never gave them back. Goulden flashes back onto it, gathers the loose footy from 55. Can he go from home? He bounces it through. An incredible individual goal.
Finds Heaney, hand pass releases Florin, off and running. Florin looks for home and drives through another. The Skylines of Ollie Florin. Sure as you like on the run. Moves it down the long kick to half forward. Patley never took his eyes off it. Takes the mark 60 from home. They're out downhill. And a big marked by Rex, who can just walk it in to the open goal, and the Swans go coast to coast. Make it 7 on the trot. And Sam Wicks has got a couple. Comes down towards Rowbottom. Hand pass threads it through to Heaney, who finishes.